Yes, 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 yes. Can you all hear me very loud and clear? Can you all hear me loud and clear? Yes, yes. Can you all hear me loud and clear? You murderer. Yes, yes. We have a small change in the planning. A small change. Yes, yo, yo, yo. How are y'all doing? Welcome in the new live stream. It's all set up. It's the first time I'm gonna do this like this, and it looks like everything is working how it's supposed to work. We're gonna do it in Dutch and English. The reason I'm doing this right now, because on TikTok, where I used to live stream every day for almost a year, I got the second permanent ban because I discuss about crypto and finances, and TikTok, it goes against policy, so TikTok is constantly blocking me from going online. So now I'm starting on YouTube, and this is my first live stream. And one of the nicest thing that YouTube has is I can share the screen now. You can watch with me while I go through special things that I find interesting to talk about regarding crypto finances or things that happen in the news. So welcome to the new live stream. Support the channel, press like, follow me, comment on this post, and let's keep it rolling. Let's start. I'm gonna share this. There we go. Let's see. The first thing that's very important that I see is that we have another. South Dakota is the 15th state to introduce a Bitcoin-related legislature. All right. Okay, let's see how it works. So we're gonna see countries now starting to get into the mix and getting their own Bitcoin strategic reserve. This is very important because this shows how many countries or states wanted to do this. They all wanted to do this. Most people don't get it. They think Bitcoin is still a sham, a scam, or some fake reality. But the sad reality is that this is your only way out of inflation. The only way out of inflation from the comfort of your home. So this looks very good. South Dakota. What is South Dakota? Let's see. South Dakota. Let's see. What's more? Oh, another nice.
Right now,
will you guarantee do what every other major country does? It's a simple question.
And by the way, Bernie, the problem of corruption is not just in the federal agencies; it's in Congress too. Almost all the members of this panel are accepting, including yourself, are accepting millions of dollars from the pharmaceutical industry. And protecting their interests.
Oh. I thought that would go. No. I ran for president like you. I got millions and millions of contributions. They did not come from the executives, not one nickel of PAC money from the pharmaceutical industry. They came from workers.
In 2020, you were the single largest
because I had
receiver of pharmaceutical money.
You hear this? This is Robert Kennedy Jr.
Workers,
you were the
not a nickel from corporate tax.
You were the single largest acceptor of pharmaceutical dollars.
No, from workers in
1.5 million.
Yeah, out of 200 million. All right, but you have not answered. Last question. You have.
This is also happening, and this is all happening right now. Also with the Kash Patel, he's going after child predators. He's going after people who are doing harm to little children. He's going to dismantle the FBI and start it from the ground up. And what I can see is that this is the new reality we're gonna live in. Common sense is back in action again. And it all gonna come full circle. Alles gaat nu full circle komen. De hele realiteit is niets meer dan dat nu vanuit Amerika er harde stappen worden ondernomen om heel wat kwaadaardige dingen terug te dringen. Een van die dingen, one of those things was that the FBI was weaponized by the Biden administration to go after religious parents who were like preaching the gospel of God, and they were protecting children from getting murdered through abortion. And the Biden administration actively tried to destroy it. And why I find this so interesting, because we live in a small country, the Netherlands, but we have seen our share of craziness ourselves. And I believe it was only possible with the hand of America under the Biden administration. We had people during the gay pride, they were fisting each other, you know, in the city, in front of kids. We had like teachers trying to promote pornographic material to little children in the classroom. It can only happen when there's a bigger boss in the play who makes it all possible. And now they're scared. They're all scared. And now Bitcoin is also starting to run up. Bitcoin is starting to make its move on the global markets. 1 second, Akan. So, you murderer. You murderer. Let's see. Het is even wennen. Let's see. See. Okay, connection is good. Let's see what Bitcoin has to show us. Oh, dat is wel even wennen dit. Yes, what do I see? This is the Bitcoin chart and everything. Wait, I have to make the screen a little bit smaller. Yes, like this. This is the Bitcoin chart, and we're testing the new high again. We're nearing that new high again. And with all the news coming in from the whole world, just watch Twitter. I will show you. Ik ga jullie allemaal laten zien. Kijk. Je moet kijken naar wat er nu gebeurt, hè. Hier. Wauw. Wauw. Grayscale files een XRP ETF voor de NYSE. Wauw. Testing Litecoin community engagement. Kijk hier. They're all gonna come. They're all gonna come.
And I'm confident it's going to hit 1 million. I think we're all confident in this room that it's going to hit 1 million. I can tell you, a lot of eyes were opened when Bitcoin hit 100,000. And I can tell you a hell of a lot more eyes are going to be opened when Bitcoin hits 1 million. And I'm confident it's going to hit 1 million. I think we're all confident in this room that it's going to hit 1 million. I can tell you.
Yeah. Oh wow, they're gonna
fags and retards if they are doing something faggy or retarded. Fags and retards, ladies and
oh, this is fake. Oké, kijk. Voor iedereen die niet weet wat ik hier aan het doen ben. Ik ben nu op een nieuwe manier aan het experimenteren. Maar, wat wil ik zeggen? Nu kan je dus meekijken wat ik zie als ik op Twitter zit. Nu kan je het zelf zien. Ja, zie je wat er allemaal voorbij komt? Zo kijk ik gewoon naar de markt. What the hell? Oh ja, ja hoor. Cash Patel gaat achter. Iedereen van Epstein gaat hier achteraan. Wauw. Hier. Wow, first budget surplus in a decade. Public spending cut by 30%, crime down by 50%. Ja, maar dat gaat gebeuren. Damn. Damn.
Smash the likes early because we just got wonderful news for all crypto holders. It looks like the Bitcoin reserve is confirmed, and we're talking about the federal level. We're going to talk about the states level. We got another country signaling they want to add Bitcoin to their balance sheet. We got crazy news with Cardano involving the meme coin space, Solana and SWI, and we got to talk about a fart crime. TJ, how are you doing today?
I'm doing good. It's a good day in crypto when things are pumping, prices are up. You got me laughing. I don't know what the fart crime is, but I guess whoever smelt it dealt it.
Yeah, that's what, you sniffed it, you biffed it. Whoever denied it, supplied it, everybody. And again, smash the likes. Thank you for joining, everybody. We got a lot of news to cover. Let's just get right into it. We got to show you a lot of charts. We're going to talk about the hot alts, the next alts. But right now, the hot coin is Bitcoin and Ethereum. Ethereum is up 5.2% as we speak. Bitcoin's up 3.7%. Looks like Solana's beating both of those, up 6.1%. But Cardano taking the ultimate victory lap here with the 6.6 in the top 10. But then we got Chainlink with the 10% pump. Check out that Chainlink pump. Actually closed my Chainlink long. And then we got SWI, and we tried to tell you folks about the SWI upgrade involving Phantom Wallet. We're going to talk about that. We wanted you to front run the news, and we got the next way to front run the next bit of news. So tons and tons of stuff. But let's look at the biggest gainers in the world. Fartcoin. We're gonna. It's related to the fart crime, everybody. We are gonna talk about the fart crime. We got Jasmy, SPX 6900, Radium, and look at Litecoin.
Yeah,
Litecoin with the major pump, which back in the day would precede a major Bitcoin dump. So hopefully we don't see that. And Ondo with a huge pump as well, 15%. Athena, I'm seeing a lot of quality projects. This smells like alt season, TJ.
Smells like alt season. I'm with you. I think you're right. We're getting into that part of the cycle where we finally cleared it. I thought that Fed meeting was going to be kind of a final hurdle going into February. I'm expecting a few good green weeks ahead, at least, if not a lot more. But yeah, seeing the pause on rates wasn't necessarily a surprise, but what was seeing Jerome Powell talk about crypto and saying banks can custody crypto and basically speak of it favorably, like innovation. And what that signals to me is the wealthy elite have their bags packed. We've been kind of held back. I feel like suppression. We've been watching some unnatural manipulation happening on the order books. But I think overall, the biggest players in the world now, they have Bitcoin, they have Ethereum, I think they have Solana, and some of these other ones like Ondo and Athena and some of those as well. So Litecoin, though, I think slides in there because we are starting to see the ETF. I think that's pretty much a shoe-in for an ETF.
I think we're getting a little Litecoin ETF news. So yeah, it's not related to back in the day, 2021. You see Bitcoin pump, and almost every single time you would see Litecoin and Bitcoin Cash pump after Bitcoin pumped. 48 hours later, 96 hours later. I don't think we're kind of copying those moves from the previous cycle. Let's look at the biggest losers. I know it's a fart. It's just, the hot air rises here. But we don't really have anything in the negative. Stable coins. Love seeing stable coins. After that, though, we have Tau, limping in with the 0.4% pump. Let's look at Bitcoin. Remember we put up the Fibonacci extension yesterday, TJ? Look at this. Look how perfectly just knocked against this, hitting it as resistance as we speak. We pointed this out yesterday. Not saying short this level, but Bitcoin does need to clear this hurdle. If we look at the daily candle body hasn't quite hit it yet. If we go to the 24-minute, looks like now the bulls are trying to turn, I think the 786. No, this is the 786. Bulls are trying to turn the 786 Fibonacci extension into support. You see knocked against it. Maybe third time's the charm here. How about that fib playing out beautifully?
Yeah, and the top of that one is basically 110. The next one, right? Yeah.
Good point. Yeah, it's going to be the previous all-time high. It was going to be that 109.605. Looks like maybe I could have made it a little bit tighter there. But yeah, the next point of resistance, clearly it's going to be this all-time high. Also, looks like maybe a little point of control right here. So that's going to be right at 107, 162. So a couple levels for everybody to look out.
Look, what I always think when I watch stuff like this, it's all nice, these colored schemes and these charts, but who can really predict? But it's
for thank you for joining the Membership Alliance. We're going to be having a member stream tomorrow. We do it every Friday, folks. And if you're not following me, make sure you go follow me on X.
I'll drop it in the chat.
Pretty close to 55,000, so that'd be feel pretty good there. Let's talk about the Bitcoin Reserve. This is major news, and then we're going to go over the states. But the federal is going to be the major catalyst here, and this is David Sachs. He is USA's crypto czar. He's also the AI czar. I think it's Laura Ingram. That's how you say your last name. So here he is confirming the U.S. is exploring a federal strategic Bitcoin reserve.
We're going to hear the announcement about the Bitcoin reserve from the Trump administration. Everyone's waiting for that. We got the study and the review, but the Bitcoin reserve, Texas is going to move forward. It looks like with legislation Dan Patrick announced today, that's a big priority for them in Texas. But how about the Trump administration?
Well, there's also a bill in the Senate. I think Cynthia Lummis from Wyoming has introduced a bill to create a national Bitcoin reserve. President Trump has asked us to study that issue, so we're just not ready to comment on it yet, but it's one of the things our working group's going to look at.
All right, we are not ready to comment on it. We are studying it. We are making moves in the background. Last night's video, we revealed the secret moves they were making behind the scenes. We're seeing the same thing here. We're seeing a lot of indications Bitcoin reserve is happening. Here's Cynthia Lummis's post. I want to check the time here. This was just mere hours away from the interview we just watched. One of the first orders of business will be to hold public hearings on the strategic Bitcoin reserve. Yeah. And I think with the momentum we're seeing with the appointments yesterday, I think RFK was confirmed.
Yep.
I think we have a little bit of momentum, and I see this passing, and I'm a lot more bullish on this passing today than I was 7 days ago.
Yeah,
what about you?
They're definitely going to, just the fact that they're going to be talking about this in the Senate, I think is major news. The coverage and the media coverage it's getting on mainstream media, the fact that banks can access it, they're going to be asking for financial products. I don't know if you've got the clip from Sergey from Chainlink talking about the inevitability. Maybe we play that a little bit later.
You might have to pull it up. I don't always play the Sergey clips because his accent and it was a little bit meandering and a little bit long. But yeah, I mean, Sergey, he's this is the co-founder of Chainlink. He's super bullish on this happening. Folks, we definitely, all the signs, all the indications, Bitcoin reserve is happening 2025.
Absolutely. And banks will be custodying products. And then what's the very next thing is, okay, one bank can offer me yield on my assets, or, now can you match it? And that's kind of the point he makes. We'll play it a little later. I'll go pull it up where he says, what do you think that bank is going to say? No, we can't do that. No, he's going to say, yeah, well, let me get back to you. He's going to hang up the phone. He's going to call his team and say, hey, how can get us into DeFi so we can start helping people earn yield on these assets? I think it's going to, the tidal wave of new money that's about to come into crypto, I think is going to shock a lot of people. I do think we're going to see an insanely high Bitcoin. It's going to accelerate very quickly, and I'm
a lot more bullish for a $250,000 Bitcoin today than I was yesterday. At the same time as the sovereign nation, sovereign wealth funds, Wall Street also signaling a lot of interest, and that happening at the same time. Then we get retail FOMO. Talking about, potential $300,000 Bitcoin. Things can really get crazy, folks. Let's move forward here a little bit. We got breaking news. Texas Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick announcing establishing the Texas Bitcoin Reserve priority bill for 2025 legislative session. Look at the details here a little bit. And so they include a proposal to establish a Texas Bitcoin Reserve. It's joining 5 other states. We got Arizona, we got Utah, we got Wyoming, we got Florida, and I think Ohio is the 5th one there. We keep scrolling. Look at this. Trump campaign on the promise of creating a national reserve, and Lummis has introduced the Bitcoin Act, which would establish such a reserve. This is very, very enlightening, folks. If it were a sovereign nation, Texas would have the 8th largest economy in the world. This is like one of the top 10 countries signaling that they want to start buying Bitcoin. Plus, with Bitcoin, all the Bitcoin miners in there that have moved to Texas, I would give this almost 85, 95% probability of happening.
Yeah, absolutely. Texas has been pretty pro crypto for a long time. I would say it's very, Wyoming, obviously, where Cynthia Lummis is from, one of the most bullish places when it comes to Bitcoin. But Texas not far behind, and the Texas economy, to the point you just made, absolutely huge compared to Wyoming. Wyoming, not a lot of people, not a lot of
smallest
commerce
by population.
Texas, like you said, one of the biggest nations in the world. Basically, this would be as big as any other major nation saying, "Hey, we're building a strategic reserve." And we've been saying this on this channel for a while. You're going to see the groundswell movement come out of the states because they are a little bit more mobile. And when we see things like Texas putting these bills out there, Arizona, I think it was the other day, circulating something around. That's what's going to give a lot of wind to the sails in the Senate for the federal government to say, like, okay, if the states are doing this, we should probably adopt a similar policy. It's going to be interesting to see what nuances are in the different bills. But the one from Texas, from my understanding, is going to be pretty aggressive and will put in being able to put pension funds and fixed income asset vehicles into crypto and Bitcoin and letting them hold Bitcoin and then for a fixed return. That industry is trillions and trillions of dollars.
Do you see who Dan Patrick appointed to oversee the Bitcoin Reserve in Texas?
I didn't.
This guy. It's happening, folks. It is happening. There ain't no way it's not happening. You got Chuck Norris on the case?
That's good. He's here to save the day.
All right. Can you speak on HBAR ICP partnership bullish? Hey, yeah, I would say any kind of big partnership between large, top 50 coins is going to be bullish. If I had to choose one, I feel like HBAR has the pump and ICP hasn't. So I would speculate and just say, you know what? Sometimes you just got to have a prayer and a dream. And I would have that with ICP. So
interesting. See, I'd take HBAR because I think they're getting that nod on ETFs and regulatory stuff, kind of like XRP. It seems like they're going to be used for the tokenization.
I'm more bullish on it. I just see, with the ICP smaller market cap, maybe there's a little bit of, catching up that can happen there. Looks like Czech Bitcoin Reserve is approved. That might be breaking news, so maybe we'll check that out in a little bit. Illinois also is not just Texas. Illinois does have Chicago. It's not as small as you might think. Considering a strategic Bitcoin reserve with the 5-year HODL strategy, which I love, which would be, maybe the tail end of the bull run next cycle. And so they're the latest state to advance a Bitcoin strategic reserve bill. Notably, it proposes 5-year HODLing strategy after the creation of the fund. After the 5-year holding period, they could transfer, sell, appropriate, or convert to any other cryptocurrency in the fund there. So very, very interesting 5-year forced HODL strategy. If you buy it at the right time, great idea. If you buy it at the wrong time, maybe not so much. And then we got Norway, Illinois, Texas, U.S. Norway Central Bank does have a Bitcoin allocation, but in a weird way, they're even more degen because it's MicroStrategy shares, which is almost like a levered bet on Bitcoin. If you think about it that way. So 500 million, it's almost like 2 bill 4x, maybe 2x. I don't know. There's smart people who have done the math on what kind of spread you're looking at. Is this like a 2x bet on Bitcoin, 5x, 10x? But this is going long. This is
Definitely.
about as long as you can get going on Bitcoin here.
Yeah, and we're really starting to see the major FOMO kicking in. And it's like, it's really crazy to think about. Like, it's one thing when you get retail FOMO, which what we've experienced in the past. Like, oh man, I got to download a Robinhood. I got to go make a Binance account. I got to go do this. I got to go do that. You know, like, and that's what's happened in cycles past, right? Now we're starting to see nations like, wait a minute, the whole bank needs to go buy all this stuff. Like, pour billions and trillions in before we get left behind. We don't want to be the one that's getting asked, hey, why didn't we take action on Bitcoin earlier? It really has. There's a huge shift in the political mindset, just the framework that everybody's assessing this stuff in right now. It's massive, the move. Even, like I said, Powell talking about it. I know you mentioned, you know, don't like talking about the Overton window as much, but it's basically the general consensus of, is Bitcoin good or bad, is overwhelmingly positive now. And it's almost going to be like, you're going to be shamed if you don't buy it versus shamed if you do buy it. And that shift is dramatic. That's huge.
Yeah, we had to listen to all those 80-year-olds saying, oh, it's rat poison, and that took time for that to wash.
Hoor je dat? You hear that? This is what I talk about. It's nation states are going to come in and do the same trick that people did in 2017, 2021. They're going to FOMO in like crazy. I'm good, Bart Otoch. No, I'm just getting started. This is my new setup for the coming year, where I'm going to do live streaming on YouTube. Because TikTok always, they ban me. They close my account. They shun me. They prevent me from talking. So now I'm going to start here again. And we're going to do it like YouTube style free live streaming. But what's happening now, a few things. One, the American government, they're going to take care of a lot of bad people. They are going in hard. They're going to clear out the FBI, Kash Patel. Robert Kennedy Jr. is going to take on the health industry. Donald Trump is taking on, you know, the banking and the NATO. He's gonna go for a pro-crypto government, and these guys, they are talking about it. You see the Bitcoin Reserve, the Gary Gensler, he's not allowed. He's working back with what's the name again? IMT. He has a job again at IMT, and now the Winklevoss brothers, one of them, he declared, if he works with IMT, we do not want to do business with IMT. So they are going to come after him financially because he took out many crypto companies in the past 4 years. He took out many, and Europe is next.
Out of people's opinion, you know, they don't want to disagree with that immediately. Hello
man,
from Nigeria. Hello back to you. That's the largest
listen,
crypto economy in that entire continent.
Chuck
Norris went to Wyoming. He broke the mountains back.
But
we have a couple more. Chuck Norris once mined a whole Bitcoin block with a pot.
Kijk, wat mensen vergeten, wat ik ook altijd zeg, mensen vergeten dat het niet meer gaat om een paar crypto-nerdjes op een zolderkamertje die wat dingen uitvogelen. Het gaat ook niet meer om een paar exchanges die een beetje ruzie krijgen met een paar regulators in Europa en in China en in dingen. Nu gaan hele naties gaan over. Dus nation state adoption is about to go hard. And when nation state adoption starts to go hard, you pass the 8% adoption rate. And when that happens, it becomes a tsunami.
Pocket calculator.
Work today is broken. We're all working in too many disconnected apps, and it's killing team productivity.
Nazis.
This guy is just insane. Who is this Chuck Norris guy?
That did happen. Did you see that? Somebody with like a $400 or $500 miner solved the whole block today for like over 300 grand.
Yeah,
crazy. Solo miner. That's nuts.
I think it was Chuck Norris.
There you go.
Chuck Norris from. Is he around still? Or is he passed?
I think he's still alive.
I think he's still around. Oh,
he's out there selling workout machines, right?
What was that called? It had all the strings
Nordic,
and everything and pulleys.
Wasn't it the Nordic something or other?
Maybe. You can tell there's zero resistance. You know, like you can fly around, move it all around.
He wants to have everything tokenized, and
like,
that guy's big. He got big balls.
All right, now with this crypto reserves being built in other countries, in other states, in the U.S.,
listen,
this cycle, this is pretty interesting. Bitcoin has then been leaving crypto in the dust. Look at the decoupling of Bitcoin and the crypto market caps.
Watch this. This is what I'm talking about. People, Bitcoin is murdering. Look, this is the murder chart of Bitcoin versus the rest. This is the murder chart of Bitcoin versus the rest. But the altcoins, I assume they're going to come too, because it starts with Bitcoin, but after Bitcoin, people gonna come flock into altcoins. And if you watch like the rate of how big the market is, the crypto market is like a tiny planet. It's a tiny planet. It's not even worthwhile stressing about. And you wanna come into a market where everything is still tiny. If you have to go to a market where everything is big and bulking, it's like it's hard to make money. Yeah, people gonna FOMO in for real because that's all they have. Let's be real. If you watch the stock market, if you watch the real estate market, let's see. We're gonna do some chat GPT. Average home real estate home price in here. You're gonna see some chat GPT at work. Let's see. Let's go. Look, I'm gonna show you some chat GPT where you can see for yourself. I prefer this response. Look, as for the third quarter of 2024, the average price for a single family home in the Netherlands was approximately 434,000 euros. However, prices vary by province. For instance, Utrecht, the average price is almost nearing $1 million, while Groningen, it is around 384,000. So, this just based on this knowledge, it means the housing prices, housing market chart in the Netherlands between 2008 and 2025. Give me a chart. Give me a nice chart that you can all see. Watch. I'm going to show you now. Look, this is what ChatGPT does for me. Look, I'm going to show you. Here we go. Let's see. Here, you're going to see the charts. You can see what I see now. Join the club. Now I'm going to teach you. Now it's time to teach you. This is the source cadastre. You know, it's a known. It's like the place that registers who owns the house. But as you can see, between 2006, the home prices generalized in the Netherlands almost grew 5%. If I'm this is not a good chart. This is not good. Hey, come on, give me a good chart. What is this? What is this? I want to see, like, let's see here. This is for the Netherlands. The housing prices been on the increase, outpacing the nearly all of the EU. And what does this say? Let's see. The global financial crisis led to a downturn in the Dutch housing market. Okay. House prices declined, with the market reaching its lowest point in 2013. That's correct. 2014, 2022, recovery and rapid growth. The market began to recover, initiating a period of sustained growth. Okay, that's good. But the problem is with growth, the growth was not like, wow, let's grow. The growth was based on monetary policy, monetary financing. When 2008 hit the markets, the governments, they flooded the market with cheap money to keep everything going from collapsing. And then we get like the shift in wealth between the regular people and the one who knew the market. So, and what did those people do? They invested in houses. They took the houses. So the house became like an investment vehicle, like BlackRock, Vanguard, or Bernard Jr. So the housing market became like an investment venture to people who knew what's going on in 2008, and they took full advantage of it, while the governments continued to overspend and create debt that led to more inflation. And the youth, the people like me, the people below me, young people, between 10 and 20, between 20 and 30, between 30 and 40, which options do we have to get rich, to own something? You tell me. The real estate market is proving that you need at least almost $500,000 to buy a house. And if you have to loan the house, how much do you have to earn? How much do you have to earn to get a mortgage? 500,000 euros. 500,000 euros. 500,000 euros. Let's see. What does the calculator say? Okay. You need to earn at least 100,000 euros. And you know what the sickest part is of this all? Dit hele ding. Dit is ChatGPT. Dit kan je gewoon gebruiken in je eigen vrije tijd. Als je shit wil leren, ChatGPT. Maar the sickest part of this all is that this whole market is financed through printing. So each home that gets bought by the bank is bought with inflation money. So the more houses getting sold, the more inflation we get as society. So we're getting fucked.
Typically, they were, pretty lockstep there. Now we're seeing a huge divergence as Bitcoin starts to, just kind of run away. But TJ, I got the real reason there's a decoupling here.
Okay.
It's not Bitcoin reserves. It's not Texas. It's not Norway. It's not the Czech Republic.
Je weet wat je zoekt in een partner. Oké. En in een mediator.
Hey, fuck off.
It's this one guy. The top creation wallet on pump.fun has made 18,000 tokens. Tracking the wallet. This guy wakes up, makes an average of 18 tokens an hour before he goes to sleep every single day for the last 6 months. Currently, he is up $3.7 million in profit. They're saying, maybe it's only 840K. But yeah, he did 17,000 meme coins in 3 months. He wakes up, makes a meme coin, makes a meme coin, makes a meme coin. What do they say? Once every 18 an hour? That's insane. That's insane. 60 divided. I mean, you're looking at a little over 3, just basically 3 every 3. He's just going crazy. Just going crazy every 20 minutes. Yeah, going nuts like every 4 or 5 minutes, just making a new one. Maybe part of the reasons we're seeing a decoupling is it's harder to buy an alt and make those giga profits. And so people just have fatigue and they're just going to park their money in Bitcoin instead.
Yeah.
Back in the day, it was a lot easier to chase a 10x or 5x. Now people would rather just chase a safe 2 or 3x with Bitcoin. What do you think about that? The sheer amount of alt.
Most people, no. You know why we broke? Because we are forced to use euros. We are forced to use euros. And euros debase very fast. The decoupling of the euro, I'm going to show the chart. You're going to see for yourself. Even kijken. M3 Global Euro chart. Let's see. Euro money. Let's go. Давай. Oh, I love this shit. This is what I do. It's very nice. Look. I'm going to put like the chart. I'm going to show you everything you need to understand about monetary financing. Look. You see this chart? You see this? Can I increase this full screen? Let's go. Давай. This is very nice. Now I can show. Oh. Even kijken. Wait. Yes. Look. Now I will show you how this works. Look. You see this? This is the euro money supply M3. M3 compasses the euro area, and it means that this is the amount of euros that are in circulation. Literally the amount of euros. You see this number. This is the amount that's in the market right now. This is what we use to buy stuff. This is the stuff that you see. I got it here. This is also part of This is part of the M3 money supply. But what did happen in the past years? When the euro was introduced, the supply just kept on increasing. As you can see on the chart. You see that? 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. And what happened is that the central bank, they keep adding euros to the system, and they use the power of the euro to feed their own hobbies, but they inflate the currency. And as you can see on the chart here, our currency has been heavily inflated for the last 20 years. It's sickening. And so the money that we earn now is not the money that our parents earned 20 years ago. And people don't realize it because they are accustomed to the reality that things are getting expensive, more expensive, that a house is unaffordable. Not only is it because of the money supply, it's also because of immigration and overspending. But the baseline starts with money debasement, and they keep printing, and it looks like this. This is what you're going to see when shit gets out of hand. You see a chart that's keep going up, and 2008 you had like this financial crisis, you know. Then it went a little bit more up. Let's see, how can I show that? Oh no. I cannot. Let's see. How can I move this? I have to move. I don't understand. Okay, but let's see. 2021, you know, Corona started here, and the money supply went up like this. From here, 13 to 16. So that's why we got so much inflation. And when we hit this mark here, you know what they said? We have too much inflation. We gotta lower it. Let's increase the interest rates. And here we got our bear market. This is the crypto bear market. See, it's all in cahoots. Shit went down, you know. People had to stop spending. People went back into saving because when interest rates go up, people start saving because interest rates go up. Lending your money to the government is a better deal than to invest it into risk assets. So this is the bear market in crypto land. This was our bear market. 2020, 1. Oh, let's see. Yeah. Here the bear market started when the interest rates were slowly getting cut, hiked again. This was the real bear market, and now they're going up again. Because why do people inflate currencies? Very simple. Because they need money, and if they cannot pay the bills, they will print the bills. So you gotta see, it's simple like that. If you cannot pay the bills, you print the bills. And with printing, God warns you, if you do that, you're going to harm your whole society. But these banks, they don't give a fuck. And that's why I'm saying there is only one solution. Get your ass into crypto and get in fast. Because the money supply is going up and up and up and up. You see this? 1 year. From 2024, the beginning, to the 2025. Look here, another increase, almost 1 whole point. Oh, let's see. So, jij mag weg.
Coins is a turnoff for a lot of investors.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely dilutes the value, right?
Yep.
It spreads it out.
Right. It spreads it. There's more of them, but can't you see someone saying, you know, back in the day, I would only have to kind of research 5-10 tokens, and it was easy to pick a winner. Now it's so hard to pick a winner. I just pick Bitcoin. Yeah, I think there's more of these people.
I think people will start, gradually rotating towards quality and utility in real projects. I think the best comparison we can use, at least for people that have some experience. I know I didn't experience the .com boom, but it's kind of close. I was a kid, and I'm kind of familiar with it. I've studied it. I think that's the best comparison we have is when the early internet came out. At first there wasn't a whole lot going on there. It wasn't too hard to pick a couple things that were doing okay. And then all of a sudden, when it kind of got to where we are right now, that once the internet's going to be a thing, we should all do it. And it's not a matter of if you will or won't. It's just a matter of what it's going to look like. Then boom, there was a bazillion things, and they would pump and they would drop, and a lot of them were vaporware, and people were just adding .com to their thing just to pump up their stock prices.
You open up Coinbase, there's eight tokens.
Right.
Robinhood, there's 3.
Right.
All right, this is easy. I got to buy one of these. It's going to go up. Now it's just like
exactly.
I don't know what's going to go up. I'm just buying Bitcoin.
Get, paralysis. They get overwhelmed. They don't know what to do, and they do nothing. But I think what we're going to see is, to your point, we're going to see Bitcoin start to break away from the rest of the market. We're going to see real, I think I've been saying this for a long time, super bullish on DeFi through Aave. A lot of the DeFi stuff's built on Ethereum. So, obviously Chainlink is needed for a lot of these things. Aave is needed for a lot of these things.
Hey, you know what last night's video was?
Chainlink and Aave.
Chainlink, one of the biggest gainers today. Aave probably knocking on the door. I imagine it's also a great winner today. And Bowflex.
Bowflex, that's what it was. Yeah.
Wait, no, that's the main. We got the smart chat. No, people are correct. We got community noted. Someone just got DZ'd by C90 here. Bowflex was the competitor to Chuck's Total Gym.
Total Gym. Okay.
Chuck Norris's Total Gym. Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense.
But to answer your question, yeah, I think we're going to start to see smart market participants moving towards quality projects. I think there will always be vaporware. We're going to still probably experience several years of stuff like what you just mentioned, people launching just junk tokens that go to
wait
zero.
till you hear about the fart crime.
Yeah, I'm curious what it is because
but that's also one thing, but it's good. It's good. Listen, if you're in a market where people keep piling in, creating these crazy numbers of tokens, Pepe Inu this, Pepe Shibu that, you know what it means? That means people are coming in. We got the attention now. Otherwise, there would not be so many tokens. That's why it's getting bigger and bigger, because people want a piece of the action. People know that, so they create all kinds of ways to make more money. They create ways with trainings. They create ways with launching new tokens. Then a geek from in an attic comes with another way to create tokens. He creates his own exchange, his own token listing platform. This is what I call like investment. People invest. They look into the market. And it's a good sign, but it's annoying because, it's almost four. Hey, Johannes, how you doing? It's almost 4 billion or trillion market cap, and I still don't see no action. No, because there are more people coming in to test the waters. But you want to see the money coming in. The money is coming in, but it's diluted. And what they're saying is a very good one. Why not just keep it to the top 20? Because you can go for like these crazy altcoins, but most people don't understand it because it's 100% DeFi. And the second thing is, why would you gonna spend hours investigating a token that I just created to take your liquidity when you can just stay with the top 10, stay with the regulars? Because the new normal investors gonna go with the top 10s. They don't go with the crazy meme tokens, high risk projects, pump and dump schemes. No, they're going to keep with the top 20. That's good. But we need that too. So it's annoying, but it's part of the game. You have to be happy this happens. Otherwise, it would be a dead market with no volatility or action. You have to be realistic. I tell you.
It's pumping like crazy today. So
crime pays.
Speaking of Chainlink, I did find that clip real quick.
Spray.
Let me see if I can play it. I think we've got my audio here, side computer, host computer.
Oh, these fucking ads. Get the fuck.
I don't know if this
is... saying we should apply for a White House press pass. You really got to have proximity to D.C. or be willing to travel to D.C. all the time. I don't know if
I know.
We'll put something in and see if we can get a representative there. I just sent you that clip real quick.
I realized,
because I do think it's worth playing.
On what?
My audience, it helps me because if they block me, I cannot speak. And the Netherlands is a small country.
I do want to
with a lot of expats. But we're gonna get used to this.
It's the wave that's coming. I feel like is so much bigger than people realize. You got it.
You see, because everything I watch is also English.
And
I can also speak Dutch.
Kijk,
at the end of the day, the only choice.
Luister, ik kan ook Nederlands praten. We zijn gewoon Duolingo noemen we het zeggen. Maar het punt is gewoon van, alles wat ik kijk komt van het Engels af. Ik kijk heel weinig Nederlands nieuws. Ik kijk alles vanuit Amerika. Amerika, Duitsland, dus iedereen praat Engels. Dus waarom niet van, laten we de universele taal meer embracen en gewoon all in Engels gaan. So, I have to speak to people who don't speak Dutch. I have to tell them too what I think, what I see. And what I see is that we're going to have a super cycle. But now we're going to have like this desperation phase where people, they're going to complain because, it's over. There is no more money left to be invested in the... Hey, shut your mouth. Shut your goddamn mouth. Where is the... I'm going to show you something. Crypto market cap versus stock market. Yeah, toch. Yeah, but for me, it's for the English people too. Because a lot of people, They live in the Netherlands. You know how... Laat me het zo zeggen. Weet je hoeveel ik Engels praat, hè? Weet je hoeveel? Weet je hoe vaak ik Engels moet praten tegen mensen? Even kijken. Hier. Global crypto capitalization. What is this for old kind of... This old news. What the fuck? Ja, toch. So, I think it's important for me to reach more people. Because I want to reach more people. I'm so angry that people try to block me from talking. All I do is talk online to people and you block me. And I follow American news, I follow Dutch news, I follow Japanese news. So one thing that connects is English. English. Spanish, English, a little bit Mandarin and a little bit Russian. But I had a nice chart about the crypto market cap, the global adoption. Even kijken. Listen, here, got it. Look, if crypto reaches 10% of the stock market, its value could exceed 10 trillion. The crypto market cap is below 5. Look, 3.6 trillion, dat is 3,6 biljoen. Dit is de crypto market cap. Amerika gaat net beginnen. America is about to start and people are tripping because it's not going fast enough. Frisk. Ja, we kunnen een beetje Fries praten. Nee, we moeten even oefenen, hè? Een beetje Fries praten. Maar the thing is, the crypto market cap is like this. It's like tiny. It's so goddamn tiny. People should not stress so much because why? 9,009. We're gonna watch some cryptocurrency as well. But you like this new format?
That banks and fintechs and all these people will have is adopting all this. That's it. That'll be the only choice. It'll be that, or
yeah,
that's
Leon,
it.
I'm
or
telling people, listen,
all your business will go to people
Leon,
that have adopted
thank
this.
You.
That's
thank
the simple
you. You know
reality
what I'm
of the
about.
internet, of mobile phones, of video conferencing, of all these
Many
technologies.
People,
it's just the simple. There's no. It gets to a point where nobody's even going to say like, maybe we don't want to do this.
Look,
when 60 of their users come or 60 of their biggest clients come and say, "Can you custody Bitcoin for me?" Guess what they do? They buy custody solutions. When they come back to them and say, "Can you get me 7% on my Bitcoin holdings?" Your competitor can, because he's implemented integrations with DeFi. What are you going to say? Are you going to say no? Nobody's going to say no. Everyone's going to say yes. And they're going to pick up the phone and they're going to call their back office and middle office people, and they're going to say, "Put pedal to metal and get me DeFi access."
Yep. And that's going to mean get me some Chainlink. And I'm
here. Listen. All right, thank you. If you like ook de ding even, hoe heet het? Even ding. But you see what they talk about? They talk about DeFi applications. DeFi. Nobody understands DeFi. Even I don't fully understand DeFi. I only scratch the surface. I have a guy who's been in crypto for like almost 10 years. He taught me how to swap and shit. But he even has to scratch his head sometimes. Alright, thanks. What is DeFi? What is DeFi? But we got a whole new world of people that don't know DeFi. And it sounds to me like a little bit inbelverbinding. De inbelverbinding. Inbelverbinding. Hoe ging het in zijn werk? Oké, kijk. Let op. Haha! Oh shit. To me, let's be honest. Inbelverbinding met internet. Bij inbelverbinding wordt een modem op de service van het internetprovider ingebeld, waarna de toegang kan worden verkregen tot internet. Hierbij wordt het telefoonticket dat u online bent bijgehaald en in rekening gebracht. Een inbel kan afhankelijk van het gebruiker maximum snelheid aan van 56 kilobits per seconde bereiken. Het nadeel van is dat de telefoon op bezet is gedurende de tijd u online bent. Internet via de inbelverbinding is tegenwoordig zo goed als verdwenen. Kijk, inbelverbinding, seniorenweb. This is what I'm talking about. This is a Dutch article about like one of the first working internet access connections for people at home. So if you had like living at home and you wanted to have internet, we noemden dat de inbelverbinding. And my brother had one. My brother had like this inbelverbinding, and when he used to go online, my mama's heart rate would go up significantly. Like, you know, she would get like red and white mixed up because the stress, because it's very expensive to have like the in-bell connection. And most of the people did not know how it worked. My brother, because he was tech savvy, he used to have computers on high school, he found out how it worked because they had internet at school. But for me, it was like magical thinking. What the hell is this internet thing? And now, look what we have. We can like live stream with screen sharing through internet 20 years later. 20 years later. But crypto is going to have the same future, if I'm correct. I think it's going to take a little bit longer than 1 or 2 years. I think it's going to take at least another 5 to 10 years before we have like massive world adoption. But I believe when we hit that massive world adoption, we're going to see new levels, new societies, and I think fiat money is going to be a thing of the past. I believe that. Fiat money is going to be a thing of the past. Internet adoption with a chart. Let's see what the ChatGPT says about internet adoption. But if I'm correct,
very, very bullish on Chainlink from that. Very, very bullish on Bitcoin as well. And yeah, I do think Bitcoin DeFi will take off once banks have the green light to start trying to get yield, because they all want to make money off of money, making money off of money, then sell that as a package that you could then make further money off of. Right now, we're waiting on the clarity. So yeah, very, very bullish take there from old Cedric. That's the co-founder of Chainlink. People always they're going to ask Chainlink price prediction. TJ, what do you got? It's in last night's video. Wait a minute, I'm sorry not to cut you off.
Thomas, what up?
So you put one in there.
It's in
the
hundreds.
It's in the hundreds, I'd say.
I'm above 100.
There you go.
I'm above
We put a
100.
new live
You have to
stream.
watch the video
Let's
to find out the
screen
real number.
sharing.
All right,
And
Coinbase, just kind of seeing,
werkt.
speaking of clarity here, Coinbase welcomes Trump's campaign chief to advisory council. His name is Chris LaSavita. He's the co-campaign manager of Donald Trump.
verder
New
op
hiring
YouTube.
came a week after Brian
hier
Armstrong's
gaan we
meeting with
uitbouwen.
Trump to accusedly discuss personal
Want
appointments there.
TikTok is niet leuk.
Coinbase has also hired
heb,
ex-senator Kirsten Sinema and ex-president of the
je kijkt
Federal
ook alles
Reserve
lekker
Bank in New
aanzetten,
York,
zie je dat?
Bill Dudley.
Ja,
so
toch,
making
beter?
a lot of
Serieus?
moves
Ken je
into
dat?
just connected people.
Zeg ze,
This is
zeg
kind
ze
of like
meteen de
from
graaf
BlackRock's page book here. I would say
En
it makes me
geluid
more
ook
bullish
goed?
on Coinstock in
Geluid?
the long run.
Geluid
All
allemaal
right,
goed?
looking
Ik geloof
here,
weer dat de
speaking
camera
of
moet kijken. Ik ben gewend om naar een
politicians,
scherm te
Goldbar
kijken. Je moet naar
Menendez,
het
we were
cameraatje
covering him about a
kijken.
year ago, who fought against El Salvador
Hier.
adopting Bitcoin, just got sentenced to 11 years in prison for taking bribes in gold and cash from Egypt. He was taking bribes from Egypt, gold bars in his house. I think he had traveler's checks inside the suit pockets of his suits, inside his closet. Goldbar Menendez got caught, took forever, was still a senator while he was fighting all these charges. I just love Nayib Bukele's take here. The guy who said we use Bitcoin for money laundering and corruption.
Yeah.
So this guy, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
I don't know, that guy just seemed
Old
like a straight
people,
shooter.
old
That guy
people
doesn't
with
give
big
evil
mouths.
banker vibes at all.
He doesn't look like he plays
Oh,
a
hoor je me
bad
best
banker in a Bond movie or anything.
Yeah, he doesn't
like
look
that.
like the villain in a
Hoor
Spider-Man
je me nu?
cartoon.
Yeah,
not at
perfect.
all. Not at
Perfect
all.
analogy.
Plus the pin suit.
Yeah.
That was a sign right there.
Want ik
Yeah.
heb microfoon
Pinstripes.
aanstaan.
I love
It's a mob
seeing,
suit.
I love seeing world leaders that have adopted Bitcoin early being able to go take victory laps on all this other stuff. I mean, Bukele, obviously one of
ik
the
heb
first ones.
maximale-
He's really put El Salvador on the
maximale
map.
dinges.
The
Hij gaat in het
infrastructure
rood.
that's been improving over there. You got Javier Milei obviously doing some work in Argentina with the government. You know, the actually cutting bad policies. I think that inspired some of what we're seeing here in the United States. It's amazing to see the savings, and yeah, I haven't been
En nu?
bullish on Bitcoin or the U.S.
En nu?
in quite some time. Quite some time.
How high Ondo hit? About tree 50. About tree 50. Yeah, we don't know for sure. I'd have to look at the market cap. I wanted to say I was thinking 20 billion, but we do have Ondo Man. He'll be on tomorrow.
Yeah, see, it's at 5 billion market cap right now.
That's a 4x, and you know there's a world where it does 40 with more and more Trump integration.
Yeah, it could do a lot. I mean, it could do a lot. There's a lot. Like, if you want to, we won't go into the hyperbull territory. It's a little early for this, but there's some big whales that I know, some very smart people that are talking about an extended bull run. You know, if you use that theory of what happened with the gold ETF, and then after the accumulation, the gold kind of went on an 8-year run. A lot of people, speaking of these banks, speaking of Bitcoin DeFi, speaking of custody services, strategic reserves, these things are huge, but they don't happen overnight. They take time. And there's a scenario where we just run into 2026, 2027 and have a muted bear market.
Did you see the gold reserve story that came out where they're pricing it in 70s prices?
Stop advertising your servers.
No.
Oké dan, ja toch, kijk. Maar wat het punt is dus, what's the deal? Because we have to talk a little bit English and a little bit Dutch. We have to work everything out. But it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. Let me see what ChatGPT has been doing for me. Oh, kijk, Liz, nice, very nice. This is what I want to see. Kijk. Look. This is the internet chart. Kijk hier. Nice. This is very nice. This is very nice. I got working internet with working live stream, and now I'm going to show you internet user timeline. Let's go. In 1990, we have 2.6% on the internet. Toch is het percentages? Number of internet users, 2.6. First website on 6 August 1991. Wow, we had the first website. And then we see like this, with each year, the numbers been increasing. And when we hit like 2000, let's see, 2000, from in 10-year time, from 2.6 to almost, almost tenfold. And now, from 99 or 2000 to 2010, we see like, let's see, it's almost, I think het is 400 en dit is ongeveer 2000, 2400, 5 keer de groei. Ja, 4 keer 5 is 2000. 5 times. En vanaf 2010 to 2020, we have a increase in the 4. So, but what you see here is increase because more people understand. Most people did not understand internet in the 1990s. You have to be honest. If you were from the age, I'm from 87. When it was 99, I was 12 years old. I knew there was a computer where you can watch naked ladies. But I was used to cassette recorders, you know. But now I can watch naked ladies on the internet. But I could not conceive. And when I saw it, I was hooked. But I still could not understand how this is possible. It's not possible. And then my friend had like the printer, the color printer connected. And he printed out these naked ladies for me in full color. And I could not comprehend what was happening. It was impossible. He was the first guy in my whole neighborhood with a working computer with internet and a color screen and color printer. The guy was like rich. That's how we saw him. The guy was some magical deity. Yeah. We were just nothing but simple people with a realization for, hey, something is changing. And it was very beneficial because he was faster than all of us. We had to go to the town to watch. You used to play like PlayStation games on Nintendo. You used to go to the town, and there you would
so Wolf of Wall Street, I had to check this from Cynthia Lummis. She stated that gold certificate.
Find a book and write down codes to play with the games we used to play. You know, Tekken, Siphon Filter, Metal Gear Solid. And this guy went home and he came with all the cheat codes in like 5 minutes, 10 minutes. And we were like, how do you do that? And he was laughing at us. And and 2-3 years later, we got a computer with the inbelverbinding. And then we were like on board. We were onboarded into the internet. And things started going very fast from that moment. So with cryptos, it's the same. Most people, they still think in old terms. My younger brother, he was thinking about, thank you, Thomas. He was asking, how does anybody has a Does anybody has a working debit card where I can order a hotel reservation? Hotel reservation. Even kijken, die en die. Hotel reservations. Where, and I was telling him, you don't have a credit card. He said, no. I say, why not? Yeah. Do you have one? I said, yeah. But I know my brother opened a Bybit account. And when he opened his Bybit account, there is like a special tab, debit card. And you can just order yours with maybe 2 presses of the button, click, 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 and in 1 week it gets delivered into your house and it's working already. But he still can't comprehend what is happening. So I assume 80% of society of the Dutch, they have the same problem, and worldwide is the same. So I believe in the next 5 to 10 years we're going to see what internet is doing for us right now. And you want to be in, otherwise you're going to think about, whoa, if I just invest into the internet in the early 90s, I would be rich as fuck. Yeah, but that's the reality of things.
It's held by the Federal Reserve are valued at the 1970s price. Scott Melker said, I looked it up. She's right. They're valued at $42 an ounce rather than the current market price. And so when they say we have $11 billion on our Federal Reserve's balance sheet, marked to current market value, $500 billion.
Dang.
Why don't they do the updated price? Well, it's part of the Bretton Woods system, which ended in 71, and adjusting the value would affect monetary policy, treasury accounting, and international financial agreements. There's just a lot of moving parts. That's why it looks like maybe they haven't done it. Just very, very interesting stuff.
Wait, so you're
like
saying
hiding wealth?
Yeah, the federal government's being shady with the numbers?
Yeah, shady with gold.
Yeah, weird. They're working the numbers in their favor to fit the narrative that they want, that they need at the time.
Is Gold Bar Menendez at the head of the snake here? What's going on? I don't know. I'm blaming Gold Bar Menendez. Somehow it's this guy's fault. I don't know how. It just is, folks. All right, we got crazy story with good old Gary Gensler. I call him my bald brother here. Gemini is not going to hire MIT grads unless the university drops ex-SEC chair Gary Gensler. They say they won't hire due to the university rehiring Gary Gensler. A boycott that some are saying is overkill. We'll discuss, is it overkill? So Gemini's feud with the SEC dates back to March when they had to pay $21 million in fines because the SEC said they sold unregistered securities through Gemini Earn program. Gensler has now returned to MIT. I didn't know this, as a professor to teach and research artificial intelligence and finance, financial tech, and regulatory policy. Basically, how AI can be used to be Big Brother is kind of what I'm looking at there. The crypto industry has passed a look to boycott SEC staff, including Coinbase, which stopped working with the law firm after they hired a former SEC official. Axelar's network Sergey said he didn't see a reason to punish students over this policy, and Arkham's head of legal agreed, saying not hiring law firms who employ SEC enforcers is one thing. Not hiring MIT graduates seems a little bit like overkill. Here's Winklevie's tweet here. As long as MIT has any association with Gary Gensler, we will not hire graduates from the school, not even interns, for our summer intern program. TJ, is this overkill?
It's their prerogative, is what I would say. I mean, I think they have a lot of selection. Could it be overkill? Maybe, but it wasn't our business. It wasn't my business that was held back and damaged for years and years as a result of it. So
I got a hot.
Yeah, they as you can see, the Winklevoss twins, they were like the friends from Mark Zuckerberg, and they have this special crypto exchange Gemini, which was hacked 3 years ago, data breach. So if you know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about. And they have been fighting against Gemini. They have been fighting against the SEC. The SEC was trying to strangle them too. Operation Choke Point 2.0. And right now they are in cahoots with Donald Trump. So they are going to do some damage to Gary Gensler for what he did to them. And they're going to start off very good by telling him, if you're going to work at MIT, your students, we're going to do our best to make sure none of these grads will ever get a job in this new finance industry, this new gaming industry. business industry. And I think it's gonna work. I think if Donald Trump keeps the pace high, keeps momentum high, it's gonna work, and they're gonna hit Gary Gensler where it hurts, and they're gonna hit everybody where it hurts, because now all these schools, all these institutes, they have to reconsider their stance. Oh, you wanna harbor people who try to destroy us? Well, now we're gonna destroy you. Unless you cooperate with us, unless you start teaching blockchain technology, unless you start accepting ways to integrate crypto into your business model. So it's gonna backfire. It's gonna backfire so goddamn hard, and they deserve it. They all deserve it. Gary Gensler deserves it. Elizabeth Warren deserves it. Biden deserves it.
Just thought of this.
Oh, fuck off.
The next great crypto founder, does he stay in university all 4 years?
No.
Or does he get his high school diploma when he's like 12?
I think a lot of the greatest probably haven't finished college. If you go,
A lot of the greatest haven't finished high school.
Yeah, so I think is it overkill? Maybe, but I don't necessarily mind it. I think they want to.
I don't think you're getting a free thinker if you accept some of these graduates.
Well, they're not the only one. This is Matthew Siegel. If you guys aren't familiar, he's the head of digital assets research at Van Eck. He's basically saying the same thing. I'm boycotting MIT grads. Kids go elsewhere.
Yep.
I am probably more in the like services. Don't hire the attorneys. Don't hire people that use those services, law firms that come from there, whatever. But I don't necessarily mind this. Like they need to, people can vote with their dollars all they want. It's just no different than saying, oh, I don't want to go to Costco anymore because I don't like their policy on this. Like this is their Gemini's business. They can do what they want with it.
Yeah. Everyone wants a Bud Light moment with a lot of these companies, but not everything is as fungible as Bud Light is. Bud Light, you replace with Miller Lite, Coors Light. You got the same thing. Costco can't quite replace it with Sam's Club. You definitely can't replace it with anywhere else, So a lot of this, but with crypto exchanges or hirees from college universities, yeah, maybe that probably won't be an issue for them.
Yeah, I mean, do you think they can't get good people from Stanford? You don't think they can get good people from other
Caltech? Yeah, a bunch of places for sure.
Yeah.
I'm gonna pull up to MIT just to egg on Gensler there. That'd be let's not pick on him. Although it would be funny for someone to just raise their hand, and be like, "What about Algorand? Remember you said you liked Algorand? Are you
Bitcoin is Ethereum a security?"
Yeah. But Costco has the chicken bake. No, man, it's the $1.50 foot-long hot dog, and they're about to switch to Coca-Cola products, so no longer a Pepsi. Also, the rotisserie chickens.
Nice. Pepsi sucks. Sorry, guys.
And Sprite. Sprite is superior to whatever the hell they have now. Was it Starry or something? It was better than Sierra Mist. So yeah, they don't have a good Sprite competitor. That's for sure. Sam's is Walmart. Walmart is horrible. Walmart's pretty bad. Walmart's pretty bad.
I haven't been to Walmart in a long time. There's one. Actually, that's not true. There's one right across the street. I went there the other day to get some like drinks and stuff for the office.
Just for reference here, our Walmart, every Walmart has two large bay doors in the front. Our Walmart across the street that TJ's referring to bricked up a whole door. My guess, prevent shoplifting.
Yeah.
That gives you a sign of how good our Walmart is. All right, let's talk about Charles. We got insane Charles news here. This is a whole saga, everybody. So Charles bought some Snake. We were bullish on Snake here. TJ, you're bullish on Snake, right?
Sure.
Oh, yeah. It keeps climbing the meme coin rankings. TJ actually ordered a case of Snake. They got a new flavor. They got a red flavor. I'm not kidding.
A red flavor. Got code red? Snake code red?
Snake code red, basically. And I'm going to review it live on stream, everybody. They love when we review that, so I'm sure that clip will go crazy. But anyways, Charles finally starts getting really bullish on Snake. He bought Snake live. But he wasn't super public with his wallet. Someone found the transaction. And this person said, do you think he'd mind if I doxed his wallet? Maybe the community would like to send some stuff. I don't know if this is the guy who created this coin I'm about to talk to, but this is a whole little saga. Charles Hudson. Oh, my God. I made a wallet video, and I woke up with my own meme coin. LOL. Never change crypto. Well, Decipher, good morning, everyone. But especially Charles Hoskinson, who woke up with $19 million in his paper wallet. I think the token is down a little bit. Yeah,
Let's see what the internet has more to say to people like you and me. Let's see. What's a very interesting one? Even kijken. Let's see. What's a very interesting one. Even kijken. Let's see. Maar kijk, maar dit is dus waar we een beetje naartoe gaan. Hè?
Je KVK-inschrijving is een goede eerste stap. Alleen het beschermt nog niet je bedrijfsnaam.
Ja, op rotte.
Or not, but the debt goes up about 1 trillion every 90 days. Oh, that's the debt. Jeez, Louise. The only way they'd ever be able to pay that down is hodl thy biddy, but I don't think they have the intention to do that. I don't think that's their intent, if you know what I'm saying. Super bearish, says Barek. Yeah, 250, I'd say. You know, my personal target for the base case is 420, and my bull scenario is the 1.1 million. Max is calling for 2.2, and we're going to break down the math and why he upped his target by a factor of 10 from 220,000. That's coming up here next as our feature story of the day. That's the plan. Right on. Well, yeah, the good news in the world is the whole world's your oyster. You just need a passport. And if you have shitty laws and bad government, you can go to any other country in the world, pretty much, maybe minus a couple that you're not allowed to go to. But overall, you can live in the most advantageous place to be and make your dream come true. Don't be captive to poor government that are looking to enslave you and, you know, turn the frogs gay. Because first they start with the frogs, then they start experimenting with the humans.
Yep.
Go Norway. Yeah, Norway, that's a big deal over there. Planning it all out. That's what's up. I'm going to check the X feed one more time, and then we're going to dive into our feature story of the day, the latest from my homie Max Kaiser. Next level. Yep, shout out Sergio. This is the new hat he created for us. Pretty awesome, eh? I'm pretty excited to be wearing this one. So thank you, Sergio. And for those that don't know, all of the hats I wear come from this man. He creates all the hats for Max and Stacy and El Salvador, Bukele, and JV. So BitcoinCaps.net, you can cop yourself whatever exclusives he has available on the site. I know that's where I got this one and all the ones I wear. My camouflage one's one of my favorite. And of course, we got the new crypto news alerts, Laser Eyes. Let's go. I like the white, by the way. It's pretty lit. So anyways, thank you, Sergio. You're the man. Sergio, that's a man with a plan. Texas is the crypto capital of the USA. Well, mainland. Utah is the Dow capital of the USA since 2022. Right on. They say Puerto Rico is the crypto mecca of the USA, Charlene. New Orleans, thank you for the Super Bowl. I take it. Good stuff. But yeah, I guess let's just dive into our feature story today. I just need a drink of water.
The Biddy vibe, Biddy chemistry, Biddy up. No Diddy, get it up. Getting wet with our Bitcoin. Doing, we're going point. Bam, Biddy fam.
Love the lid. Awesome short coin. I'm sure they'll be available, if not already, soon on the website. I know he just literally created it. He sent me the video earlier, which is pretty cool. I'll show it to you really quick. I think I saved it. This is the video of his machine.
Like a bitch, ain't you tired?
I got to shut the volume because copyright's on Kendrick. But pretty cool. He has a badass machine. So the embroidery, like, I'm not just gaslighting you guys that he has the best hats. He has the best hats because he has the technology that makes it the best. And yeah, it's pretty amazing. The custom embroidery is next level. High quality caps. The lids are high quality. The prices are very, very reasonable. Better pricing than anyone else I've seen selling, Bitcoin caps. And they deliver fast. So it's not like you're ordering out of China and you got to wait 2 months for a delivery. And everyone here has given me positive feedback buying hats from Sergio. BitcoinCaps.net. He can also do custom things, obviously. But that's pretty nice of him to create that for our listeners. So shout out Sergio, greatly appreciate it. Kendrick is the man. Exactly, Shortcoin. We'll be playing some Kendrick Lamar along with the Chandy Jams in Puerto Rico in 8 days at the Fiesta. We're definitely going to play some Kendrick tracks in there, mix it up. It's going to be awesome. But anyways, thank you, Sergio. I'm very excited to get that hat. It's probably in my mailbox right now. He said it sent me a surprise the other day. I'm like, and that must be it. But yeah, it was pretty nice of him. So, anyways, my husband loves his hat. Good to hear. Which one did he get? Is it the camouflage? I know there's so many designs on the site. He'll probably hear something a week or two, maybe, right on. But anyways, let's... All right, fam. Now for our feature story of the day. El Salvador Bitcoin advisor Max Kaiser, the high priest himself, raises his Bitcoin price target from 220,000 to 2.2 million. I'd love to explain why. And I also want to start with something that was actually shared today. Michael Saylor is featured on Forbes, and I love the title, The Bitcoin Alchemist. Why Saylor's MicroStrategy is a brilliant blueprint for manipulating traditional finance to harness the pixie dust of cryptomania. That was pretty epic.
Kijk, zie je dat? Het gaat gebeuren, jongens. Alles is langzamerhand aan het bewegen in de juiste richting. Hier, nog eentje. I spent 1,500 hours studying Bitcoin. Now I'm all in. Ook interessant.
You've got 3 things that you have to do in this world. You just got to stack Bitcoin like a smart psychopath. Yep. Hold on to the Bitcoin, not get shaken out as you go up and down these roller coaster rides. And then you can't lose the Bitcoin. You just can't. For those people that are thinking they're late to the game here, you're not too late. You haven't seen anything. You don't know what's coming.
Hey everyone, quick thing before we start. Over 50,000 of you keep coming back to watch and listen to this podcast, but over 65% of you still haven't subscribed yet. So here's my simple ask. If you find value in my Bitcoin content and you enjoy what I'm doing, please take a second to hit subscribe on YouTube or follow me on your go-to podcasting app. It's a small action that really helps push my content through the algorithm, and this way we can make sure that more people learn about Bitcoin. Thanks for being part of this journey. Now let's dive into this episode.
All right, George Bodine, welcome to Bitcoin for Millennials.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it, especially being a boomer. I'm glad you put me on.
Well, actually, a lot of boomers listen to this podcast, and I love when they reply on YouTube. They always tell their age. So like they're proving they're a boomer or something. I don't know. But you know, of course, this podcast is for everyone. You know, my main goal is to educate my generation because I think we need Bitcoin the most. You know, as for in other generations have had the opportunity with real estate or the stocks, S&P 500, etc. I feel Bitcoin is that asset for my generation. So that's why it's called Bitcoin for Millennials. But of course, anyone can listen to it. But yeah, I'm happy you're here. I think you have a fascinating background, interesting thoughts about Bitcoin and like adjacent subjects. So I'm super excited to chat today. And yeah, I just wanted to start because, I mean, your background is as fascinating as it is extensive. I mean, you went from being a cop to an oil field worker to a miner underground, not Bitcoin, a nightly cab driver. That's fascinating too, the stories you must have, to a Navy F-18 Hornet fighter pilot, then becoming a Top Gun instructor. Then you flew commercial for Delta Airlines, and you eventually retired, but went on and spent almost 1,500 hours studying Bitcoin. I mean, we can talk about a lot there, but of course, my question is, what made you fall into this Bitcoin rabbit hole and, being committed to studying it for that long?
Well, you know, it sounds like I was trying to live, you know, to become the world's most interesting man, but that wasn't the point of it. I just basically didn't know what I wanted to do in life. And, you know, the good news about that, if you think about it, for any millennial out there, that's a very hopeful story because, you know, basically I kept reinventing myself over and over again. And that's a miraculous thing to be able to do. So for those who are listening out there and maybe they're not sure where they want to go in life, just stay positive and keep pushing forward. You know, one of the things I've always liked to learn, and I think you've probably noticed this yourself. In our space here, we have so many people that are very intelligent, very inquisitive. They come from all kinds of backgrounds, and they are it's almost like Bitcoin itself draws these people into its circle. So I've met so many fascinating people And one of them, Lynn Alden, that's one of the reasons why I'm in Bitcoin now. She wrote an article a long time ago. It must have been like 2017. You know, I had seen Bitcoin in 2012 or 13. I thought it was stupid, you know, Ponzi scheme, typical stuff. And then she came along in 2017, and it was a good article, and I could tell she was interested in Bitcoin, but she just wasn't ready, I think, to invest in it, and I got kind of the same impression. So I passed on it, but unlike her, I kind of just blew it off, and she kept studying it. And then in 2020, right at the beginning, like February, March, she came out with another article, and I could tell that things had changed. And from that point there, I started, buying into the Bitcoin, reading about Bitcoin, studying Bitcoin, and it just has not stopped. I'm probably north of 2,000 hours now in this journey, and I will not stop. And I have no intention of quitting.
Same here.
Yeah, it's so interesting what you said about like the different kind of people that are drawn to Bitcoin, and I've talked extensively about this on the podcast. I think the word or the personal trait that comes back is curiosity. You know, like it's people that are curious and like to learn, and it's kind of like geek behavior in a sense, right? That you like dive really deep in a certain subject. But I think when you said that, I was thinking like, yeah, but it's also because once you understand that this like lowers your uncertainty towards the future and gives you space and time to explore perhaps what is your core passion, for example, then Bitcoin makes a lot of sense, and you see people from all likes, all backgrounds, all ages, all regions, being drawn into Bitcoin. And I think in essence, it could be about that, fiat money doesn't really give us the time and space to really explore, our passion or our core interests. And yeah, once you see that in Bitcoin, then it's pretty rational.
Well, Bitcoin has given me time, and it's allowed me to do so many things. Bitcoin's royal flush. Years ago, I was at the table and I just took my stack and I pushed it all into Bitcoin.
Yeah.
And for my age, I'll tell you, that's pretty unusual. All I'm exposed to is Bitcoin or some Bitcoin proxies like MicroStrategy, but I'm just all Bitcoin. And once you understand that, and the more research you do, the more reading, the constant study, it allows you to hodl without, fear or worry, because basically every year I'm becoming wealthier and wealthier. I don't do anything. You know how much time I had to spend studying in the past? Like I've always handled my own investments. So can the amount of time in the fiat world that you have to spend to try and manage your money and to increase your wealth or to hold on to your wealth, it's incredible, the hours. And now I really don't do that. I just study and enjoy myself for fun. And I can prove I'm getting wealthier every year because I just did this recently. 8 years ago in my neighborhood, it took 8 years ago, it took 666 Bitcoin, the mark of the devil, by the way, 666. And then 4 years later, so 4 years ago, it took 44 Bitcoin to buy that same house. And in the meantime, the house had gone up like $90,000. Now, today, it went up another $100,000. Now, I'm sure my neighbors are sitting around and they're just going, wow, my house has gone up in value. And you know what? For me, I could buy that house now for 5 Bitcoin. So 666 to 44 to now 5. And what did I do in the meantime? All I did was hold on to my Bitcoin. You've got 3 things that you have to do in this world. You just got to stack Bitcoin like a smart psychopath. You've got to hold on to the Bitcoin, not get shaken out as you go up and down these roller coaster rides. And then you can't lose the Bitcoin. You just can't. And you cannot lose it. And that's all you got to do. And, just enjoy life.
I think that's a great example. I had a tweet this week because
this guy, he's been talking about you have to like a super smart psychopath. You have to get Bitcoin and keep your head low and stay in the game. And he's right, because the value of your money is devaluating at a very fast pace. And you know that your money is devaluating? Watch what your government is doing. Watch what they are doing. If they're like throwing money to feed children in Ukraine. They're throwing money to send bombs to Israel. They're throwing money to let lazy people get a head start. Not weak people, lazy people. Like in the Netherlands, they fund immigration, and they have like low-skilled people, and they put them on some payroll, and they give them all these benefits, and they cut down the working class. If that is happening on a major scale, then you know your money is devaluating, because what's happening with Bitcoin is very simple. People are the world is society where people have like access to other people's money without consequence. It corrupts indefinitely. They can destroy your wealth, they can tax you to hell, and they laugh in your face while they're doing it, while you have to struggle to get by, while slowly your wealth is eroding faster and faster and faster and faster. And with the European Union, who just declared that they're going to lower the interest rates with another 25 basis points, meaning money in the European Union that they can issue, that they can lend to other people, is getting cheaper. Which means they have to compensate that by inflating the total supply of currencies, and also inflating your losses. That's what it's actually wrong. They call it inflation. It's actually like melting pot. They're melting your wealth away, and they're inflating your poverty. So if you see like your local government is throwing around money, lying to your face, telling you it's all going to be all right, letting the news articles, write news articles, the news sites write news articles to tell you that you're on a good path, you're doing the right thing by saving money, then you know you're getting fucked. And if you're getting fucked, you need to be very clear on what you're going to do to counter it. And what this guy is saying, you have to become a calculated psychopath, and you have to stack these motherfucking bitcoins, keep your head down, and watch what's happening around you, because they want you broke. Look what's happening in the Netherlands. They tried to increase the taxes again from 90% to 21%, and now they're going to add a little bit, a 0.4 extra tax on everything that we do. That's communism, because they need the money to pay their own jobs.
In April, I shared an analysis of the average home selling prices in my country in euros and in Bitcoin. And in the past 10 years, the average home got 97% cheaper in Bitcoin, while the euro prices rose 87.8%.
You see what he's saying? You see what this guy is saying? What he's saying about the home owner prices. You know, if you want to buy the house, you almost pay $500,000 on average. That's the average price. $500,000. So your own house, the house you want to buy, like the parents did in the 90s or in the 70s or 80s, it's getting impossible to get there. You have to earn at least 100,000 euros to be able to afford a mortgage to buy the house. It's not even your house. It's from the bank, because you have to loan money that's get printed out of nowhere, and you are getting you can enter the rat race on a highly expensive, overpriced house. I think 5 times the true value, with free money where you have to work for like a slave to afford the house that you need to live in, because if you don't have a house, you are a homeless bum. And if you are a homeless bum, you can't raise children or grow your own family. But this is the reality we are living in right now. This is the reality. And this Bram Kanstein is a Dutch guy, but I like what he's doing. He's talking to the whole world. That's very smart. Very smart what this guy do. He's a finance guy. He's from finance. He worked for a bank, and he got orange pilled one day because he found out the whole banking job was a scam. But what he's also saying is, life is getting unaffordable, and most people don't understand. They try to work harder. They try to get more jobs. They try to do more things. They try to get a higher pay, but it all inflates itself. It's like the snake that eats its own tail. Ouroboros, you know? Because if you have a good paying job, but you need more money because the economy demands more money from you, you have to charge more money, ask a bigger raise, but then you have to put in more work. Otherwise, it doesn't add up for the employer, because if the employer has to pay you more, but the production rate stays the same, he is losing money. So he has to force you to work more and also force the customer to pay more. You see what's happening here? This is what we call the cycle of payments and inflation. Dat noem je de inflatie, de loon prijsspiraal. The loan and the prices of everything. It keeps on. It's like the fat and the thin guy, you know, in the black and white movies, where they constantly try to outdo themselves and they only escalate into the oblivion, infinity. That's what's happening. And I'm not an economics guy. I'm just a guy with a computer and with a pair of working brains. So what he's saying is right, and he's been warning people for a long time, but most people they don't even know who this guy is. They prefer to watch like shows on Netflix. They prefer to watch like stupid shit on television about why a masked singer is not him but is her. You see? This is what it's about. That's why I stack these goddamn things. It's for your own good. And if you don't,
8%.
and if you want to start out in the Europe, I have nice exchanges for you, which you can use. Blocks, fully operational all of Europe, if I'm correct. And everybody who opens an account through my affiliate link gets like 10 euros for free. And why not? Free money.
So it went from 2014, average home was 221,000 euros and 685 Bitcoin. And in April, or like 10 years later, it was 415,000 euro and 14.74 Bitcoin. But that's why I tweeted, I looked at the last 10 months, and in the last 10 months, home prices went up 12.4% in euros, but they went down 47.3% in Bitcoin. So now the average home is 7.7 Bitcoin in my country.
That is incredible. I mean, just think about what you just said right there. You talk about generational wealth. And again, you know, everybody talks about Bitcoin having either failed as a currency or whatever you want to say, but money, you know, human beings have been in pursuit of money for hundreds of thousands of years.
Bitcoin custody is evolving, and while self-custody is important, it has its own risks and trade-offs. OnRamp is pioneering a new standard, multi-institution custody, which eliminates single points of failure, adding fault tolerance and redundancy to your custody setup. OnRamp secures your Bitcoin in a segregated cold storage multi-signature vault, guarded by 3 independent institutional-grade custodians, none of which have unilateral control. Your funds are fully auditable on-chain, cannot be rehypothecated, and can only move or withdrawn at your explicit direction. Multi-institution custody removes the technical, mental, and physical burdens of private key management, providing unparalleled peace of mind for you and your loved ones. Bitcoin is money, and as the price continues to appreciate, OnRamp helps you seamlessly tap into financial services like trading, inheritance, insurance, loans, IRAs, and more, all without compromising on security or accessibility. Check out onrampbitcoin.com through the link below and schedule a consultation with the OnRamp team to get to know them and learn more about their offering.
When I say humans, I mean modern Homo sapiens. We've been around 200, 300,000 years. And up until only 10,000 years ago, we were basically hunter-gatherers. You know, we're out there killing woolly mammoths and stuff like that. Yeah. And, you know, if you look at the bones of the ancient people, whether it's Neanderthals who were with us right around that time. So 100,000 years ago, if you were walking along in the Fertile Crescent and in Egypt, and you came across one of your, you know, ancestors, you'd recognize him, Bram. You'd say, hey, I know who you are. You're smaller than me, but I recognize you. The Neanderthal, you probably wouldn't. You'd go, oh, you look weird. But we were mating with them at the time. So anyway, what I'm going to say is that those, you know, from that period, about 10,000 years ago when we transitioned into farmers, basically, and we began to settle and we formed communities. You know, we started out as small little clans. We formed tribes. We had tribal nations. We had city-states, nation-states. And all during those 10,000 years, we have been working our ass off trying to find money. You can see it in the clay tablets, Mesopotamia. You can understand that people were trying to use all different types of things for money, including where I've got a thing of bourbon over there or whiskey. You know, where I live here, they had produced a lot of corn. And so their money was hard to get, and they would end up trying to concentrate it into something that was liquid and hard, and that was whiskey. And then, and to turn that into money, everything, tobacco's been used, money, leather. Bitcoin, you know, we've gone past the collectible stage. We are in the store of value stage right now. And that is the base of money. If you can do what you just said, if you can understand that concept of you're getting more purchasing power every year, then you'll understand store of value. And that is the key to money. Yep. You know, what comes next, that, you know, medium of exchange, unit of count, that's different. That's more like currency. And Bitcoin right now it can be currency, but it's really a store of value. It's, like capital. It's like, a wealth.
Yeah. Yeah. I love this subject, right? Because you can make it like very difficult, but I think you started out as very simple, right? Like the entire idea is that if I sell something to you now and you give me a reward, if I don't want to spend it right now, I need to be able to save it, right? So I think the perfect money would be a money that is not devalued into the future. So you have like the same amount of energy. But of course, we are in a situation where the money is being devalued on purpose. So a certain set of people can actually benefit from that. And other people have the consequences of that. And so I like the idea of, you know, the Bitcoin is appreciating or giving you more purchasing power over time. But one Bitcoin is still one Bitcoin, right? So it's very, very it's stable. It stays the same. I think I look at that like that's the whole promise of Bitcoin. But why does it appreciate in purchasing power? It's actually because all the other stuff, what we think is money, right? Fiat money itself, all the stocks, all the homes, all the cars, all the watches, all the, you know, all these things have gotten what they call a monetary premium because what we say is money, you know, the papers that we use between each other, you cannot even use them to save anymore towards the future. And that's why people move into these other assets, right? So if we make it really simple, it's like, yeah, one Bitcoin is just one Bitcoin. It's that now, it's that in a year, it's that in 200 years. Like that's the entire point. That would be a money that nobody can mess with, that nobody can benefit from. Then we're all equal if we all use that same money. I think that is just a simple message. But why does it appreciate in value? Because all the other stuff is way, way, way overvalued. And I think that is kind of, I just said simple and difficult, or easy and difficult. Like in essence, I think that's why it's difficult to understand Bitcoin, because we kind of like move between these definitions the whole time, right? Like, oh, one Bitcoin is one Bitcoin. Yeah. Okay. So what? Why does that matter? Well, because the current situation is so messed up. Okay. But why is it messed up? And then you go down this rabbit hole of, you know, monetary debasement and stuff like that. And so, yeah, that's just a thought that came up because I like what you said about this trading, right? Eventually, if the money is just the same all the time, then everyone is incentivized to do good work and bring value. And if the money fluctuates all the time or gets debased over time, that actually disincentivizes people to, you know, deliver value. And I think that's what kind of gets us here today.
Well, you know, along those lines and continuing with that, really, it's that misallocation of capital. If you don't understand what the true cost of something is, you can't plan. And if you can't plan, there's no way for you to make an efficient use of capital going forward. People are constantly in a quandary. It's like when I was trying to work in the fiat world of investing. I'm tied up in investments, and I've got 12 members of the Fed who are going to come out with a statement that could affect my entire world overnight. It's a game, and it's a rigged game, and Bitcoin is that escape valve. It allows you to get outside of that system and just relax in life. If you're watching this podcast, you can see I'm sitting in my studio here.
Yeah.
I'm getting to produce art. I use the same techniques that Michelangelo used.
Wow.
I mean, these pieces that you see around me, they'll be here too.
Wow. Listen, this is my future as well. This is what I want to do. This is where I want to end up. Sitting in my studio, knowing how shit works, making paintings and doing these live streams. This is my future as well. I'm looking at myself. I am looking at myself. This guy. I am that guy. Not in the age, but I see what he's doing. He's been studying Bitcoin for 1,500 hours. And I know what I'm talking about because I am also guilty of studying Bitcoin for over many hours. Many hours. And many people called me like this insane guy with insane ideas, with an insane future. But I believe this is your ticket out of the fiat prison that's getting deeper and deeper. And most people that in my Telegram group, they know that. They understand what I'm talking about. They definitely understand. But a lot of people, they don't have a clue what's coming. So they just keep on working and slaving and working and ignoring what's happening, only to hope that it might go away. Let's go on vacation. Let's watch television. And this guy just decided I'm gonna study for 1,500 hours how to know this Bitcoin revolution. And now he's making art in his own studio. This is my future. This is what I'm going to do as well. I'm gonna sit in my studio, and I got, I think, 3 or 4 ladies that's gonna massage me, bring me my food, pose for me, and I'm gonna make nice paintings. And we're gonna escape the fiat prison because it's gonna come. It's gonna come, and it's gonna come very fast. This guy knows what he's talking about. I like this guy.
200, 300 years from now.
Let's see.
And I'm just enjoying it right now. And if you look at me, especially if you're a millennial and you say, well, he's a boomer, well, you're going to be me someday. And you know what? You're going to be in a great place.
Yeah.
All you have to do is get the damn Bitcoin.
Yeah.
And for those people that are thinking they're late to the game here, I had the same feelings years ago.
Listen.
I thought, oh, I'm late. I'm too late.
These people, it's the same. It's like this. I thought people come to me and they have like this habit to waste time. They waste time. They waste my time. They waste their own time. Why? Because they ask questions. What's this Bitcoin? Yeah, he's complete. He looks healthy as well. Look at the guy's arms, big arms. But the guy, they ask questions. Yeah, what's this Bitcoin? What's it? All the questions. And I tell them, it's simple. I tell them in the most pure and simple form. Just get some and see for yourself. And they don't want to do it. And then the objections come. The objections. No, it's too expensive. No, it's this. No, it's that. It's objection. That's why you have to read books, because then you realize what people have in their own mind. Oh, can I flip the camera? Kan dat nou? The War of Art. The War of Art. I have to flip the camera. Hoe kan dat nou? Even kijken. Let's see. Horizontal flip. Yes. Now it's good. Look. This is the book. This is one of the books I'm reading. But this book is about the how your mind tricks you into not doing things. This is the book. It's called The Resistance of the Mind. The mind fucks you over every goddamn time. Every time you want to do something, your mind comes in and no, we're not going to do that. Why? Because let's chill. Let's just watch television. Let's smoke some good stuff. That's how it works. But the problem is, you're gonna delay the reality that's gonna come. And that's why when people come to me and they talk about, what's this Bitcoin about? Listen, your mind is flooded with resistance. Read this book first, but they don't read the book, so they 3 months later they come again. Hey, you know how this works? And I'm just thinking, are you mentally retarded? Because I told you 6 months ago what it is. Sometimes I honestly believe that we as humans, we have like one big fault is that we end up mentally retarded as grown adults. We have jobs, we have children, we have responsibilities, we know how to drive a car, we have to do important work, we have to listen to a boss. Most people have a boss. We have to pay our taxes, we have to do our taxes, we have to pay our rent, we have to go to the doctor, we have to clean our tooth every day. But still, I believe we are like mentally impaired. Because if you come and you ask me, what is it? And 6 months later you come again to ask me what is it, I honestly believe that you are like mentally handicapped. Mentally handicapped. And I try to figure a way to make it easy on you. And I say, listen, just buy some. Just take 10 euros, just buy some. Just 10 euros. What's 10 euros? 10 euros is nothing. You give it. This is what you give to people on the streets. If somebody's broke and he's begging for money, and you like the guy, you have 10 euros in your pocket and it's raining, you give the guy or the woman 10 euros, even if it's your last. And if you don't give it away, you're gonna put it in the slot machine, or you're gonna put it in like the cigarette machine, and you're gonna get that stuff to get high again. So I say just put 10 euros in it and just shut up. Just shut up, sit tight, and just let it all ride out by itself, because it's gonna ride out. And they still won't do it. They still don't do it. But I'm like, then don't do it. Don't do it. You're gonna find out yourself. But why the questions? This guy's right. This guy.
You're not too late. You haven't seen anything. You don't know what's coming. I'll tell you, this next year, it's gonna set the dial to 11. I mean, we are gonna cook noodles. It's gonna be unbelievable that what happens this next year. Already, what we've seen in the last 60 days has just blown me away. I'm almost speechless. It's hard to discuss what's happening.
I think it's very, it's just interesting and, it's fascinating. I use the word fascinating a lot, right? Like, if you believe that this is really the most perfect money to ever exist, then it's unbelievably entertaining and fun and intellectually rewarding to see what's going to happen, right? Just to be here, basically. And
I don't normally do podcasts. This is something that I'm just
you hear me loud and clear?
I've got a lot of knowledge here, and I've had a tendency to become more reclusive in the Bitcoin space. And I've had a couple of friends reach out to me and say that you've got some good things that you should try and get out to people to try and help them. And most people that I meet in the Bitcoin space are very helpful. They just give you so much advice, and it's out there. But anyway, someday you will be me. You're going to be in this position. And if you just stack the Bitcoin, you're going to be set. I recently...
You hear what he just said? One day you're going to be me. You're going to be me, and you're going to be set. And also, like, the people in crypto are very helpful. That's true. Because I think people in Bitcoin and crypto, they are much more awake. Not like this, we all are woke and some shit, but in crypto, a lot of people that are in this market, they have seen what's on the other side. They don't have to fight your ass no more, because they see gain, they see growth, so they don't have to think like crabs in the bucket. Because it's why? Because it's free knowledge all over the web. It's free knowledge on the blockchain. The price action of Bitcoin is equal to everybody who's involved. If you start from 0 or you start from 1,000 or 10, it's all equal, because it's the same universe. It's the same reality we all have to face. If the market goes down, we all have the same internal feeling. And some people get wrecked because they have leverage longs open, and some people they make some money because they got the right candle. But in the end, I believe it's all the same. And of course, you have people they still are very competitive and they don't want people to win. But I believe that people in crypto are indeed very helpful, because we've seen the downsides of fiat money and we've seen the downsides of crypto. And that's a good thing. That's very good. That's very good. It's And I think most problem in bad behavior start because people have to work, people have to survive. And if we think about survival, we have to go back to the Second World War. And this is a quote Jordan Peterson stated. He said, most people become vicious because their life depends on it. And if they have to kill you or betray you or sell you out to bring food on the table, they will do it. They will do it. And some people, they will do it and they will have their head down because they are ashamed of themselves. But not everybody is like that. Some people will just do it. They will sell you out. They will betray you. They will tell you, hey, this guy, you should get him. He's the guy, he did it. They will lie about you. And I believe the more this adoption rate increases, the more people will join the club, let's say, the more people will get on the lifeboat, the more the currencies that we are so used to use, like the fiat, the dollar, euro, the more they debase themselves, the more viciousness we're going to experience from the other side, because that's what's going to happen. A lot of leftists, they're going to become very vicious. They're going to try to kill people. They're going to try to take people. They're trying to tax Bitcoin into oblivion. But they make one mistake. Bitcoin is run by people who know this stuff. That's why it's built the way it is. And crypto is going to follow suit.
They saw somebody that was upset because Bitcoin's volatility is going down and its CAGR, its cumulative annual growth rate, is going down slightly. You know, over the last 5 years, it's been 55%. Now, if you get one tenth of a Bitcoin right now, that means in 20 years at that 55 CAGR, it's going to be $64 million in today's dollars, in nominal dollars now. But just to give you an idea of the purchasing power, 64 million. So, yeah, I mean, if that's not enough, I don't know what the fuck to say to you, because that's a lot. Now, let's just say let's say you think, well, it's going to go down. It's going to go down to, Saylor was putting out the other day, he said he's going to go down to 29%, he thinks, over the next, I don't know how long. Well, if you read more into his tweets, you'll understand that really he's saying it's going to go down to 40, 35. Eventually it'll settle down maybe in the low 20s. But you know, even at a 30% CAGR every year, that tenth of a Bitcoin's like $9 million in 20 years when you're ready to just kind of maybe take it easier, do some different things in life. So just, be patient.
I wanted to ask you, because I see the painting with the green dress behind you, like, how long does that take to make? You know, like, how much time do you need in order to make something like that?
Well, it takes, so that painting took probably 20 hours and about 30 years.
Oh, really?
Meaning it took 20 hours of work, but it took 30 hours to get to the point where I could produce that. You know, like you said, I've done a lot of different things, driving a cab at night, working underground in a mine and stuff. And so I'm a jack of all trades, master of none, except I can tell you right now that the work that I do, I am a master at painting. That is my gift.
Yeah. Well, that ties into the question or maybe the point I want to make, like what we talked about, like you need time and space to hone in on something that's your passion or your craft or something that you feel like you should do, right? And I mean, you need capital in a sense to create that time and space for yourself, you know. And for me, this is like the fundamental case of Bitcoin. If you want to explore why you are here or what is your gift or what you have to bring to the world, etc., you need that time and space, or else you will be just captured in, I call that the physical world, you know, of money and quick things and quick wins, and no long kind of like endeavors into your ego or your soul or however you want to, your insight basically to figure out, okay, what is the thing that I want to give to the world. So I see that painting and I think like, well, you say 20 hours to make, but 30 years, you know, to understand. I mean, that's exactly the time that I'm talking about, right? Like that doesn't come, in a snap basically. So you need that. Yeah. What from like all these experiences that you had, all those things you tried, like, what were kind of like the insights or experiences that like predisposed you to getting this Bitcoin thing and kind of viewing this like Have you ever thought about that? You know, that's a funny question. I mean, when you think about it, because again, in my age, the people around me that are my age, my friends and stuff, none of them got it. No, I have quite a few kids. None of the kids got it. And their son-in-laws, daughter-in-laws, grandkids, all kinds of people around me. Only one person actually did get a son-in-law, and he's created generational wealth for his kids. You know that great cartoon, the dad sitting around with the kids, and they ask him, "What did you do during?" Yeah. I stacked Bitcoin. Yeah. And the son's down there at his knees, and he says, "Fucking legend." Well, that guy, he has created wealth for his kids. Someday they're going to look back and go, "Wow, I can't believe you did that."
That's amazing.
I've always been kind of a risk taker, and some people would think that this is risky when you first get into Bitcoin.
Yeah, it is.
And
but it's part of the game.
I guess in a way it is. But once you study it, the more you study it, after a while, you just get it. I
like this guy. I seriously like this guy. The way he talks is how I view my own life. Why waste your time working for something that's printable, sitting hours behind a desk, getting agitated, being forced to do labor so you don't get fired and your life gets destroyed, to go home to feed your family, so you're forced to work to feed your family, going to your home, going to your work, unhappy, while getting paid in something that loses value because people on the top are greedy motherfuckers. And they know it. They steal your wealth. And they doing their absolute best to prevent you from knowing that they're stealing your labor. They are stealing the results of your own labor. They are communists. And why you wanna live like that? Why you wanna come home every day and get angry and annoyed because your colleague at your work he gave you too much work and he's not playing fair, and the manager doesn't do nothing because the manager is only on her phone and she's only want to drink coffee with her and not with you? Fuck that shit. This is the life I want myself. I want to end up in a studio with paintings of beautiful women, pop art, while stacking Bitcoin and studying this shit and educating people on the subject. This is my personal future. This is what I want to do. This is my future. In the next 20 years, I want to sit like this guy. Exactly the same. I like this man. I like him very much.
That during the crypto winter back in 22, 23, as we progressed, remember I had all my wealth in Bitcoin. So, it was difficult. Sometimes I'd be there in bed staring up at the ceiling. It's late at night thinking, man, do I know what the hell I'm doing here? Or am I just, have I deluded myself? Yeah. So again, I just studied. If you'll just study, because volatility works both ways. Volatility to the downside can be sickening. It's stomach churning. But guess what? Volatility to the upside, can be just as bad in a way. I had MicroStrategy stock years ago, and it was like $20 a share, I think. I don't know what it is now. It's probably around 4 or something.
400,
but it was $20 a share. And I bought it, and it went up. It went up like 6 times. And I remember I was just like this. I was going, oh my God, I can't believe it's going up so much. I wonder if it's going to keep going up. And then I sold it. I sold all of it. And of course, 2 days, it kept going up. It didn't stop. It wasn't like I was brilliant. It just kept going up. And I remember 2 days later, I was sitting in front of the computer. I was just staring at my screen, and I thought, what the fuck did I sell that for? Why did I do that? And since I couldn't figure it out, I thought, you know what? It's just like with Bitcoin. If you can't understand why you have it, you're never going to be able to hold on to it. And volatility works both ways. It'll shake you out. And so I just started doing a really deep dive into MicroStrategy, and just as I have with Bitcoin too.
Yeah. We'll talk about that in a minute, but I love that you said this, right? Like, you need to get burned to some degree to understand that you don't
understand it enough, right? And then I think that's where kind of like the humbleness comes in, right? Where you think like, okay, did I do this right or did I do this wrong? And that once you realize that you did something wrong, that you're humble enough to be like, okay, I need more knowledge, right? I've also said, about this Bitcoin journey, for me, it's kind of like a continuous challenge, or like a continuously questioning yourself, like, can I still trust my own work, basically, like the work that I did to understand this, right? Like, can I just trust myself, basically? Like, that's the constant question that comes back. Because, I mean, if you experience an 80% drawdown, yeah, like you were at the point of vomiting, right? Like, where you were like, oh, I should have sold this and blah, blah. Like, so I love looking back at my own journey and making that like the core thing. Like, okay, can I still trust myself? Did Bitcoin change? No. Okay. Then everyone selling it, just doesn't understand it. And I think I understand it. So I shouldn't sell, that's the thing.
Well,
so yeah.
If you had a financial advisor and you told him, you went up to him and you said, okay, so look I put all my money into Bitcoin and I'm having trouble sleeping at night. You know what he would say to you immediately? It's the standard response. You need to reduce your position size. You've got to downsize your position. You're overexposed right now, and for your risk tolerance. And you've got to understand what your risk tolerance is. When I was working underground in the mine one time, this was deep. I was down almost 2 miles down, and when we were down there, one of the jobs you had to do is you had to clean this, you would call it a ceiling, but we called it a roof. You had to clean the roof. And so the shifter, your boss, had come up to you, and this happened to me. He said, hey, Jethro, they called me Jethro, and another guy, Flash. He said, go grab a couple of those rods and clean the roof for us. The rods that he's talking about are those tungsten carbide drill bits. They're about this big around, about 1.5 inches. And they're big enough around so when you're done drilling, you can stick dynamite down in there. But when they're done with them, they just throw them down, and they vary in length. They're like 8 foot, 12 foot. An 8 foot one weighs 50 pounds. A 12 foot one is 75 pounds. Now, why am I telling you all this shit? Because what you have to do is you take the rod and you walk down the drift, and you're going like this, poking it over your head, poking the ceiling of the drift. And as you go down there carrying a 75-foot rod, you get pretty tired, or a 75-pound rod, you get tired. So Flash, his risk tolerance was like off the charts. He didn't care about anything. And he wasn't the brightest candle down there in the mine. So he grabs a short little rod, and basically as he's going down the tunnel, he's poking these rocks right above his head. And so my risk tolerance was a lot lower. I grabbed a big, long rod, and I was tired, but nonetheless, and it saved my life because he and I were next to each other, and I went up and I took that 12-foot rod and I poked a rock up above me. And when I did, the entire roof came down in front of me. It must have been as big as a Volkswagen. It was like 8-10 feet across, and it weighed 3,000 pounds. The entire ceiling came down, and it came down it actually came right in front of my face. And I remember I screamed like a little girl, which, you don't do a lot of little girl screaming down in a mine with a bunch of guys, but I did. But my risk tolerance, when I say I take risk, I don't think Bitcoin's risky. One of the reasons why I'm all in is because I've got that 12-foot long rod. I don't like a lot of risk. And so I figured out that Bitcoin's not risky, and it's the least risk for me. But that advisor, he would tell you to reduce your position. And what I will say is don't do that, because if you're a Bitcoiner and you reduce your Bitcoin, you're going to actually not sleep well at night. What you need to do is just get into the books, start studying, just read your ass off, understand what you hold so that you've got that 12-foot long rod in the middle of the night poking around on the ceiling of a tunnel, and you're going to be fine.
Quick question. If you have your Bitcoin in self-custody, where are you keeping your Bitcoin seed words? For me, there's only one way, and that's backing up my seed phrase with stamp seed. It's a single durable plate without any parts or materials. Stamp your words into solid titanium, which is fire-resistant, water-resistant, and built to last. Unlike etching or engraving, Stamp Seed's patented tools help you to deeply stamp every letter for permanent readability, making it easy for you to protect your generational wealth. Don't risk losing your seed phrase on paper. Get a Stamp Seed plate for unmatched protection. You can use code BRAM, that's B-R-A-M, for 15% off at stampseed.com.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that you said that. I feel like I never did any stocks and stuff like that. Like, I'm pretty risk averse, but for me,
I'm not.
Bitcoin is the most rational
Okay, take this fucker out.
way to save and grow your wealth. So I couldn't agree more. Like, it's the most logical, rational choice that I could make, basically. So I love that you said that, because I say that a lot as well. You know, like, it's really that. And it's also funny when you talk about these financial advisors. This is a paradigm shift. Like, they don't understand. You know what I mean? Like, it's kind of like, well, we picked and chose this thing, and now that it goes down, we have to downsize, you know. Whereas if you hear like legendary Wall Street investors, I think this is from Paul Tudor Jones, for example. He says, like, if you find one thing, go deep on the one thing. Just commit to the one thing for a long time, you know, because that's when you win big as well. And then I think, well, you know, probably the general financial advisor is not Paul Tudor Jones, so you'd better listen to Paul Tudor Jones in that sense.
You know, I just had Fidelity. I just had a vice president of Fidelity. I had a meeting set up with him, and his handler called me ahead of time and discussed my portfolio and basically said, well, he's not going to be able to talk to you about Bitcoin. He's not going to talk to you about Bitcoin. So I canceled the meeting. But these, you know, even Fidelity, they've been mining Bitcoin now for a decade. And they have a lot of sharp people. Their digital asset group, I mean, they put out 2 letters over the last one was like maybe 2-3 months ago. And both of those letters are spot on. I mean, they get it. They even point out how Bitcoin is superior to every other asset as even just store of value or money.
Yep.
Run circles around gold.
Yeah, I've talked to Chris Kuiper actually a few episodes back. So he's that's the guy who wrote those those reports. But yeah,
they're terrific.
I mean, even within that group, there's a big difference in the understanding, right, of Bitcoin or the enthusiasm about it. But I mean, that's also why I think we are still extremely early in a sense of, you know, just this whole proliferation of Bitcoin. I mean, Microsoft voted on that proposal in their shareholder meeting, and it was 0.05% of people who voted yes to investigate Bitcoin as a treasury asset for them. And, you know, that I think that is just shows that we are still extremely early. But that's a good thing, because I think people need to learn to go through these cycles, or need to learn also, like, what do you actually own, you know, like, and that's something that I wanted to ask you. Like, we go up and down in these cycles. We talked about, you know, kind of like what is the test, or what do you need for resilience? Like, what do you think is needed if you're like psychologically bombarded with FUD from the media or others or your own ego? Like, what are like the traits or insights or knowledge you think someone needs to, be able to trust their own judgment around this?
Well, I could be facetious and just say, you know, the Australians have a great term. They say, just take a spoonful of cement and harden up. but seriously,
Fuck.
You know, for me, I just came down. You've got to understand what you hold. I mean, I've done some shit coining and some other things. In fact, I always tell people I've never sold Bitcoin, but that's not really true. Very first time I bought Bitcoin, right after that Lynn Alden article came out, again, it just started going way up. I thought, I don't know what I'm doing here. I just sold it all. And then again, sitting at the screen going, you know, why did I do that? I had to come back into the books, and I just started reading. I don't know of another way. You know, I really I follow a lot of podcasts. I subscribe. There's only 2 subscriptions that I actually pay money for. One's Lynn Alden's premium subscription, and the other is James Checkmatey. That's his Twitter handle. And he keeps on Substack, he keeps a check on chain subscriber newsletter that you get into. And studying the on-chain metrics and knowing how the cycle works, that helped me a lot. He has said, and I believe it's true, that if you follow that, when I say you got to stack like a smart psychopath, what I'm talking about is you kind of need to know where you are in the cycle. Now, I'm talking about a 4-year cycle that is still intact. We can talk about later whether that's going to continue. But right now, just keeping the 4-year cycle intact, you can get 15, 20% more Bitcoin for those purchases you're making if you'll just do it smart and look at where we are. Because you can look at where the short-term holders, when they're selling, there are certain numbers that'll get up to, and you go, this is not a good buy point. Long-term holders, contrary to popular opinion, long-term holders sell their Bitcoin all the time. They sell it into every bull run that I've ever looked at the on-chain metrics. So on-chain helps me a lot. I would say that this cycle, that whether we're going to have a 4-year cycle continue in the same way, I'm not so sure. I also follow at 21st Capital, Cena puts out a great model. It's called the quantile model. I follow that. I also follow Giovanni Santatosi's power law model. Mm-hmm. If you talk to people that are mathematicians, good ones, they'll tell you there's good math behind his power law. I mean, it's good math. And in fact, if you do a regression analysis and you look back on that line that is drawn off into the future and in the past, it's a 95% or 96% regression rate, which is unheard of. I mean, that's pretty amazing. Now, if you look at those charts, you'll see, and this is what the problem is. In fact, it relates to just what you're talking about. If you look at those charts, you can see that they go up, sometimes 2 standard deviations above that line. In the downside, there's almost like a floor at about 1 standard deviation. So you can use that model also to kind of understand where we are in these cycles if they continue. And Giovanni says, and he has said in the past, that his model will break eventually. And when you think about it, that's because it's a network, right? I'm going to ruin his name. I said it the other day. It's Darren Asimoglu. And Darren, if you're listening, I apologize right now. But Darren put out a great talk at MIT back in 2009, and he shows how networks are just a natural fit for power laws. We are a network. I mean, the value of our network, Metcalfe's law, it doubles with the nodes. So, 2 nodes, 4, 10 nodes, 100, it doubles. It's exponential. And if you think of where we are right now, we're about 1999 is what I figure as compared to the internet, where we are in the
You know what this guy's saying? 1999. We're in the year 1999. Meaning, we're near the millennium. And the millennium was 2000. I was 13 years old. I was young. But now, we're going to get a chance again to relive that time. When the computer started getting more advanced, the working internet connection started growing, and the phones started rolling in. All these mobile phones, Siemens, Samsung, Nokia, Sony, Ericsson, a shitload of Sagem, all kinds of phones were suddenly all in the markets with working connections, with ringtones, with games on it, with color screens, and now we have smartphones, 10th generation, 15th generation smartphones. So I believe this crypto market is just getting started. We've just entered the millennium age. If this guy is correct, and I believe he is correct.
Option. Yeah. So anyway, I really study a lot, and that helps me. And in fact, I just kept buying. That last cycle we had, Graham, I kept buying all the way to the top. And I kept buying all the way down the bottom.
Nice.
But now listen, think about what I'm talking about. For $1,700, you could buy a tenth of a Bitcoin just a few years ago.
Yep.
less. And so imagine, I'll tell you right now, Bitcoin's going to go to $1 million a coin. It is. I figure it's 6 to 8 years, but I don't even know if that's going to hold anymore. So imagine when it's $1 million a coin. You're going to take for 1/10 of a Bitcoin. You're going to have to come up with $100,000.
That's crazy.
I can't make the point any better.
Yeah. No, I agree. I also say kind of like the price is more like an exchange rate between two monies, and so don't, if you say like price, it's kind of like when people look at Bitcoin as like an investment, and I just see it as a different monetary system. It's kind of like, it's more like savings technology. It's a savings tool. So I have economic energy, let's call it economic energy, gathered in one economic system, which is siphoning off energy every year, more than what they communicate, right? And once I realized, hey, I can just move all this energy to this other system where I know it will not be devalued, that's basically when I went, right? So I kind of look at it as an exchange rate. And as you said, like a few years ago, 1 unit of Bitcoin, was $25,000 or $12,000. And now it's almost $100,000 for 1 unit. And if you turn it around, I think it's interesting. With 1 Bitcoin unit, you can now get 100,000 of these dollar units. And so
that's the key.
Which one is stronger, and stuff like that, I think should make it just pretty clear. But, it's still hard for people to wrap their heads around the fact that there's something new that is being monetized in front of their eyes. Like we have never, no one alive has experienced something like that happening. And also because Bitcoin is just a totally different monetary system. Yeah, it's a totally different paradigm, right? This is Jeff Booth who says like it's a paradigm shift. And so if you look from your existing paradigm to this new thing, you're going to try to judge this new thing with the labels that you know from the paradigm that you're in. And in this case, yeah, that's not doable. So therefore, yeah, it just takes a longer time for people to get it. But, talking about the cycles, do you think this current cycle is different from previous ones? Is this like a D cycle where everything breaks? I mean, I follow the power law too. I think it's an interesting model. I also think it's correct. I think there's one flaw there is the fact that with Bitcoin, we have this absolute scarcity, right? So the network grows and grows, the network grows because the interest grows, but there's like a limit to what the price can do, right? So if you combine it with, this S curve of technological adoption, at one point, it will go faster. So if you say 1999, I mean, in 2003, I was on Napster downloading songs and chatting online and doing things. I mean, in some little village somewhere, I had internet. And so a lot of things happened in 3, 4, 5 years, basically. So yeah, how do you look at the current cycle right now?
I can kind of explain that, I think. And for instance, now you're right. If you look at the internet adoption and you go to the S curve of the internet, you can tell that Bitcoin's above it. We're going faster.
Faster, yes.
But remember, I mentioned before, we're talking about networks and exponential. The power law takes in effect something called time decay. And that's why at some point it will break in the future. But it's not because the price of Bitcoin will outrun the power law or anything like that. It's just that as the adoption gets to a certain point, it runs out of energy. It's almost like a unit of account.
Then it's everywhere, you mean?
Yeah, it's everywhere. It's in our system. It's something that we just use all the time.
Yeah.
Exponential is so hard to explain to people. If I bet you've got big soccer, what you call them football stadiums. Over here, we call them football stadiums. They're really big. You sit in one, you look down there and the guys are like this big if you're in the nosebleed section. Well, guess what? If I sat you at the top of that stadium up there and I went down there and I stuck a faucet in the middle of the field and it had one tiny little drop come out and then I doubled it, every second, 2 drops, 4 drops, whatever. in 44 minutes, you'd be swimming in that stadium. It'd be the biggest pool on planet Earth. And it's only 44 minutes. And what's really weird is at minute 38 or 37, you'd look down in the field, you wouldn't see anything. You'd see some puddles, hardly anything at all. It's just at that last minute that it just explodes. And Bitcoin is not growing exponentially. So that's why it fits so well right now with the power law. Because it's not. It's a parabolic move. And the power law is too.
So do you think this is still, is it different this time? With all the stuff happening, with countries and stuff like that?
So before the results of the election, I still believe that the 4-year cycle was going to be something we would see next year. I forecast 200 to 225,000 for the peak in the November time frame of next year. And I was pretty confident of that using several models. I think that I feel like I'm in uncharted territory now. For instance, I've my target for this next cycle is like 250 to 300,000. But, when you talk about these standard deviations above the mean, I mean, I really don't know where this could go. And if Samson Mao was with me in the studio here, we were just sitting here having a drink, and he said, look, Jethro, it's going to go up to $1 million a coin. I wouldn't argue. I would not say that's crazy. Because can you imagine what is going to happen? Actually, I think it's already happening. Back in November, on November 9th, that's a Saturday, the buying over that weekend was really unusual. And it was when Bitcoin just started taking off. It was like somebody was buying who didn't care about slippage. You know what I'm talking about? They're pushing, whoever's buying is pushing the market
just
up.
Smash buy. Yeah.
Exactly. That doesn't make any sense. Now, even MicroStrategy, they probably use dark pools, accelerators. They're using OTC desks. They're trying to do everything they can, which is good. I mean, they should. That's their duty.
Blow it up. Yeah.
Exactly. Well, whoever was buying that weekend didn't give a shit. It's like either they have so much money or a printing press that they don't really care. They don't care about slippage. It's just one of these, get me the Bitcoin. So who is buying Bitcoin right now? And once Robert Kennedy, Senator Lummis, and President-elect Trump made their announcement at Bitcoin Nashville, once they did that, in my mind, we crossed the Rubicon. We're done. We're in a different place of the world. Even if the U.S. doesn't pass the SBR this year, we are in a different place because every nation out there should be on notice now. And if they were smart, they wouldn't tell anybody what they were doing. And, we have hash rate coming out of all kinds of places. Russia is a big one right now. Why would, and you saw what Putin said the other day. Who can ban Bitcoin?
Yep.
Nobody. That's a pretty powerful thing for him to say in front of all those people. Who can ban Bitcoin? Nobody.
Yeah, nobody. Yeah.
So these nation states, I think they're here. I think they're already planning to diversify into Bitcoin. And if the U.S., Senator Lummis has that bill out right now. It's actually, it's going to come before Congress. They're meeting the first week. And on January 20th, President-elect Trump will become president, and that bill could be on his desk. And if it's not on his desk, let's say they don't get it passed, he could, by executive order, take the Bitcoin we've got that we seized, 200,000 Bitcoin, and say, hey, that's off limits. That's the start of this strategic reserve.
Well, I think those 200,000. I think there's a tail story there because some people say that belongs to a certain exchange, for example.
Exactly.
A part of that, maybe even to Ross Ulbricht. So I think that is maybe like that could become a big side story, but nonetheless, this pace of Michael Saylor, for example, I think is really interesting. The buying in that weekend, I think is really interesting. And I just try to think about, when I just look at myself, sometimes I just think I cannot imagine that I'm the only one that has figured this out. You know what I mean? Or us two. We are not the only one that have figured this out, right? Or like the hundreds or maybe thousands of Bitcoiners talking about this. We are not the only ones that have figured this out. Like, if you just understand basic game theory or just geopolitical game theory and the fact that this is out there, right, that strategic Bitcoin reserve is a term that people are using and talking about, I would give it over a 50% chance right now for this SBR to actually happen within, let's say, the first 100 days. I mean, this is kind of like, this is why I asked you, like, what parts of your experience helped you in like thinking about this, right? And like a big part of my experience has been just working in traditional finance or seeing like a big company, like how are decisions made, right? Like when a company or a government communicates something or a group with, interests, if they talk in a certain way, they, towards the outside, they've talked about it internally. You know what I mean? Like, and in a bigger setting, people have looked at like the financial impact or the legal impact or the whatever, like people signed off on a certain statement. And that's been kind of like my way to kind of dissect things that I hear where I think like, why would you throw this out in the open? You throw something out in the open because you want to stir a pot, and you don't do that randomly.
Let's just do some counting together. Okay. So let's say the SBR passes and they end up with 1 million Bitcoin in a year. By the way, you know how many Bitcoin that is a day? It's over 500 Bitcoin a day for 5 years. So then we've got 1 million Bitcoin that Satoshi's lost. It's gone. We've got right now, Bernstein, private wealth management firm, just came out and they said Michael Saylor is going to shoot for 1 million Bitcoin. He's going to try to get 4% of the supply or more, and they put a new target on his stock at $600. So then we've got, I'm going to have to use another hand because we've got 3 million Bitcoin that are not lost, but they're held by countries and institutions right now. We've got another 4 billion. I'm running out of fingers now, so we're at 10. We've got 4 billion that are lost forever.
Million. Yeah, million.
Yeah, 4 million. So what I'm trying to say is, out of 19.85 million Bitcoin that we've mined, we've got 10 million of them. They're gone. They're not coming back right. This idea of the 4-year cycle continuing forever as it has been, I would maybe push back against that, because if this turns into a global arms race for Bitcoin and putting it on the balance sheets, these are agnostic buyers. They don't give a shit what the price is. They're just going to come in and buy.
Yeah.
And many of the things that I just mentioned to you, they're not moving. Michael Saylor, he's taken us to a different shore. We're on the boat with him. We landed somewhere. We got off. We're on the beach, and he turns around and says, "Burn the ships," to the crew. And if you're a hardcore investor with him, that he can't sell any Bitcoin. If Michael Saylor's MicroStrategy came out tomorrow and they said we're selling Bitcoin, it'd be game over. So we're committed down this road. He's not going to sell any of those Bitcoin that he acquires. These countries and companies, they're not going to sell Bitcoin. So
I agree.
I just don't see where this is. I think we're going to be shot by next year.
So do you think, like one of the memes is Bitcoin is inevitable, and it's interesting because I never really liked that. It sounds like, oh, well, we don't have to do anything for it and it will just happen. And then I had Anastasia that I talked with in a previous episode, and she said, well, you can say it's inevitable. It's kind of like a manifestation, right? So if you believe it and you're acting towards it, then yes, of course, it is inevitable. And I like that better, that thought, right? Because it kind of protects us from becoming complacent, and just being like, well, I understand this thing. So this is just, this is going to be what I think it's going to be. But yeah, do you think it's inevitable, and have we already won? Or do you see like a big tailwind or tornado, I don't know, messing things up? Like, is this path predetermined, or what kind of distractions or problems do you see along the way?
Oh, I love this I really like this discussion that we're going to go down right now because, first off, Anastasia, if you look at the power law, one of the things that if you talk to Giovanni and you said, well, look, we just got a nation state made an announcement, let's say, and it's going to change Bitcoin's price. He'll tell you right now. He'll say,
it's
well,
part
that's
of
already,
it. Yeah,
exactly. It's accounted for in the power law, and that's a hard thing to understand. But
I find that very difficult to understand. Yeah,
but if you think about it, and you think about that regression back down the line, he's right, meaning that all these things are kind of accounted for in its progression until it's not. So,
what this guy is saying, that Bitcoin is gonna nuke society. Everything is gonna turn orange. Everything is gonna turn orange, and people gonna mass panic because they're gonna get caught off guard with a Bitcoin hitting a 200,000, 200K, hitting a 300K, a 400K, a 500K. Society is gonna panic. People gonna tremble themselves. They're gonna walk. They're gonna rip each other's backs off the shoulders, fight over each phones, fight with their families, going into zombie craziness, all to understand what the fuck is going on. Because while the government spending has to increase to cover all the basics, all the costs that need to be made to sustain this failing system, the European Union, which exaggerates all the problems with all the crazy ideas that they come up to, the green agenda, while literally destroying economies, the automotive industry in Germany, France, Netherlands, Belgium, Spain, they all go like this. And they see their wealth devaluating at a very fast pace. It's going faster and faster and faster and faster and faster. Yeah, indeed. And then we see this and the price in the supermarket, they will continue going upwards because you cannot outprice inflation and government spending. Inflation or debasement and government spending is like two hands shaking each other. It's almost circular. One boosts the other. So businesses are forced to increase prices. They are forced. Each business that has to raise prices, they have to do it. Not only because they are a commercial business that they need to do it because they are a commercial business. It's expected that they do it because, hey, commerce, but they're also forced to do it. They have to raise prices because they are forced. Commercial business is at the helm of central banking policy. If the central banks decide we have to increase the annual inflation with 5%, the local grocery store has to increase the prices with at least 5% in 1 year. And that is only if you base it off like monetary policy. If you add all the extras that come into play, like a gas crisis, an oil crisis, people going on strikes, a failing harvest period, some war breaking out somewhere, or somebody gets more greedy on the other side and forces you to buy the shit, it's all layered into pricing. So I expect that retail prices will skyrocket within the next 2-3 years. They will keep going higher and higher at a steeper rate, and people will start to panic because I am not comfortable going out to eat somewhere. Not because I'm a broke ass motherfucker, but I am principled. I don't like to overpay for basic shit. If I have to pay 10 euros for a hamburger, then fuck your hamburger. Because why? I can make my own hamburger. I go to the meat district. I get my own fresh meat, and I do it myself. I become the retailer. But this is what's going to happen. You're going to see prices for takeout. That's just insane. And the insanity, people are still content with the insanity of this inflating economy. But they will wake up one moment, and then they will all panic, mass panic like Corona, and they are all forced into what are we going to do now? And the people who understand this market, they become like the Neos and the Morpheus from the Matrix. They will start telling people, hey, I told you 3 years ago, you were asleep. Now wake up, huh? Your whole pay is going to be fake. And
when you say
it has to,
when you say, is it a given? I think prior to, I think the last hurdle was China.
Yep.
When China banned Bitcoin, and they banned it like 20 times,
Yep.
but when they really banned it, when they banned the mining, and Bitcoin in 2 weeks was right back running like nothing. I thought this is probably the final hurdle to all the FUD that we've had to put up with as far as, is this going to fail? I never think about it anymore. The quantum computing crap that's out right now, what a joke. If you read about quantum computing and you understand how many qubits it takes to actually run a system, they're not even, quantum computing has been that promise that it's 5 years down the road, and they've been saying that for 50 years. So I'm not worried about quantum computing. There's nothing that I lay awake at night and think about. I do have concerns that going forward, some of the dreams you and I had and some of the things that we've been really excited about as far as Bitcoin's future, I think some of those are going to be captured or fall away, unfortunately. But
like what?
Bitcoin, it's kind of I don't want it to be a downer or depressing, but I always had this vision that we were going to take the world with us as we went down our Bitcoin rabbit hole. And I'm starting to understand that's just not going to happen. You and I have had a very privileged life because we have used the Bitcoin base layer many times. I don't know how many times you've used it, but I've moved it a ton. And I think that in the next few years, especially if what happens does happen as far as Bitcoin's adoption, I think that's going to be a very rare thing. I think that it's something you and I will be able to tell our, other people about it. They'll just sit there in amazement that we just would transfer small amounts across the base layer.
Still sweating when I do it.
No, isn't that terrible? Yeah. That's a terrible thing.
No. I think it's a trait. I think it's good. That's the whole point. Right? The whole point is take your responsibility, figure your shit out. And then
you think about. You imagine all these big transactions that are taking place on the base chain.
Super scary.
But the thing is that, unfortunately, we should say fortunately, because, Satoshi, by the way, do you know what day today is? This is the last day that anybody ever heard from Satoshi in a public communication today. I should get have a sip of whiskey for that. But anyway, because it's late here. So anyway, what I was going to say is that, with the trifecta, the blockchain dilemma, security, scalability, or speed, you can think of them the same. You've got to make a choice. If you're in a room and they give you 3 buckets, you can only take 2 out with you. You get 2. And Satoshi, thank you, Satoshi, he very wisely decided that he was going to pick for decentralization and security.
Yes.
And he knew it, and so did Hal Finney. Hal Finney discussed this with him, and it's in forum talks. He discussed this and said, we're going to have a problem because you're not going to scale this on the base layer. If you look at it, we produce 55,000 blocks a year, and some of this stuff that why I'm interested in this is because of Bob Burnett. I don't know if you've talked to him, Bram.
I love Bob Burnett. Bob Burnett is the reason I started this podcast.
Oh my God, I had no idea. He's such a deep thinker, and he's the thinker that is talking about Bitcoin in 1,000 years, and he's thinking about doing stuff now to make sure it lasts. So first off, let's have a toast to Satoshi.
Cheers.
So you've got 55,000 blocks. Last year, every block held 4,094 transactions on average. That means we can service maybe 150 to 200 million people in a year. And remember, actually, those are transactions. Those aren't real people. To get the people on board to the base layer and make them move it like twice, once on and to move their coins would take 25 years if we did half the world's population. 50 years for all of them. And imagine if we gave them only half of the blockchain to do that in, it'd take a century. So it's not going to work. We're going to end up with all these side chains, these off-chain worlds. And that's where people are going to end up transacting. And so if you don't own a UTXO, let me ask you something. Are you a sovereign individual if you don't own a UTXO, if you can't move it?
No.
It's tough, isn't it? And it's kind of a difficult concept to understand. And will these people that are on side chains, like I've been doing a lot of research on Liquid. I've been using Samson's Mouth Jan 3, the Aqua wallet. Great wallet, by the way. And I don't receive anything. I'm just a pleb here. I'm not getting any cash for saying that. It's a great wallet. You get on there, and so I should tell people, if you're thinking that this is the wave of the future, here's how it works. You got to take your Bitcoin, you move it onto this side chain, and it's then confirmed. I think it takes like 60 some confirmations, but Liquid moves fast. They have 1 minute. They're not blocks. They are called blocks, but they're really just signing blocks. And then once it's on there, then you can move it. It's very cheap and it's anonymous. I mean, it's pretty much private transactions. You can work between Liquid, BTC, Bitcoin, and you can use Tether and something else. But it's nice because it gives you the optionality, and then you can always get out, get your Bitcoin. The thing is that at some point, you're going to figure out when these fees in the future start spiking. For instance, I hate to get sidetracked here, but this is really important, okay? You know how I said you can't lose the Bitcoin? Well, a lot of your viewers right now, or the people listening to this, especially if they're new, they're getting advice from places like even Bitcoin Magazine just had an article today that came out talking about DCAing into Bitcoin, meaning you just make small little purchases every once in a while into Bitcoin.
Yeah.
And that's a smart technique. I'm not saying that's bad, but they were using numbers like $25, $100. And I'm going to tell you something, folks. If you've been doing DCA into Bitcoin, you are, if you don't think this through, you're going to lose all your Bitcoin. It's going to be gone.
Yeah. Because let's explain, right? Like when Bitcoin hits a really high price and you would want to move these UTXOs, which are basically little bits of Bitcoin, basically, and when you want to send something, so let's say you have 0.25 Bitcoin in total, but you have like 100 little buys, of $25 or whatever, and you want to send 0.0 or like 0.005 Bitcoin, it will take some of these little bits that you bought and put them in the transaction, and then you have to pay for it. But if the price of Bitcoin is really high, then you might not even be able to pay the transaction costs because of the configuration of all your little pieces, right? So the idea is that you need to consolidate. So let's say you have 100 DCA buys, right? You make that one transaction and send everything to yourself. That's basically what you need to do. Yeah, but just to explain why that is.
Well,
yeah.
Exactly. I mean, you're right. That's spot on. I mean, and that's important because listen to me. If Bitcoin goes where I think it's going to go to $1 million a coin. But let's just say that this year it does come out that nation states are stacking Bitcoin. The SBR gets passed. Bitcoin spikes in price, just like you said. those transaction fees, you know, in the future, they're going to be $500. They're going to be $1,000 for a transaction fee. It's coming. It could be beyond that. And these early developers knew that. Hal Finney talks about needing Bitcoin banks. In fact, these side chains, he kind of discusses this going forward. So if you've got all these UTXOs, that's right. You've got to send them to yourself. And if you don't know how to do it, just go to use Ben's session on YouTube. Just go to his channel, type in UTXO consolidation.
Yes.
He'll explain it to you. He
Yes.
can show you how to do it on the wallets. It's not hard, but you've got to get those things together. And it may sound like you're, sacrificing security, but you've got to get them together. I tell people, if you can get 0.1 Bitcoin together, that's good. Mine are bigger. I've got bigger buckets, but then that's because I'm not spending them at all. And I just I started with a big stack. I just put all my cash into Bitcoin. That's why. But yeah. So anyway, you got to think about that.
Some people are kind of worried, or they think the idea of Bitcoin as like peer-to-peer cash, etc., like that doesn't exist anymore, right? But I think they read it very literally. That sentence, peer-to-peer cash means everyone has access to Bitcoin, everyone can benefit from it, everyone adopts it, etc. But I think, as you just alluded to, I don't have a huge podcast yet, but we're screaming it from the rooftops. I'm trying to do my part in telling everyone about this, and there's people that have millions of followers even that talk about this. There's very famous people that talk about this. There's Wall Street legends that say, again, Paul Tudor Jones, he says Bitcoin is the faster horse, pay attention. We had Ray Dalio this week saying don't buy financial debt instruments, buy hard assets like gold and Bitcoin. It's not that this is not out there, but it's very true that not everyone is moving. Like we talked about, it's still very early. It's not that the people that hear about Bitcoin are like, holy moly, okay, I need to get this new money of the future. And so people are not doing that, So even though we are screaming it from the rooftops, not everyone is adopting it like we are, but that doesn't mean that, developments are following after one another, but also that this whole fiat debasement and debt spiral debacle is also accelerating, right? So, and eventually not everyone can initially benefit from Bitcoin because they just don't adopt it, right? And one thing I wanted to kind of hone down on that and get your idea on is okay, but how does that future then actually look like, And I feel that my idea of it is that if a big enough group of people that are not like big institutions and banks and stuff like that, and that's how the distribution is now, right? Just if enough plebs get a lot of money and therefore a lot of power in the future, they can act on the principles and values that Bitcoin instills in us, and we can build the world that we want to see, which eventually will benefit all the other people. That's really what I think, because we cannot force people to adopt Bitcoin, right? So not everyone is going to see this, right? But yeah, so that's kind of my idea around it. It takes a lot of time. I think it's a pity if people say oh, it's failed because it's not peer-to-peer cash, blah, blah. Anyone can adopt this, so if you don't do that, so it's a personal decision that you make based on the amount of time that you took or got to understand it. And I also know that a lot of people don't have the space and time to study it, which I think is also a pity. That's the entire point, as to, that's just a real pity. So that's a big ramble, but it's kind of we need to zoom out a bit. You have to look at this from just a longer time frame. I feel it's such a fiat mind mentality to say, oh, this failed, whatever. I'm just going to go back to my fiat money or something.
No, it hasn't failed. In fact, like I said, it's kind of what I was discussing gets to be a dark subject, but people shouldn't think it's failed. I don't know if you're familiar with the Medici family, who were a very wealthy family in Florence. they ended up creating the world's first real
Roes Thomas. Ik ga ook zo
bank.
afsluiten.
I mean, a huge bank. And they created basically the wealth that caused the Renaissance. I mean, an age of enlightenment.
Yes.
Well, you and I, not me. I don't know how long I don't know. But people like yourself, who are early into this space, you could create that world. You could be that family. You could be, if you've looked at Fediment and you see how Fediment works, there's so much potential there for people that are in this space to coalesce around some kind of a chance to build a wealth that goes beyond just even a nation, that goes into regions or a part of a hemisphere or an island. But there's so much potential here. It doesn't mean Bitcoin's failed if we can't scale everybody onto the base layer. It never was meant for that.
Yeah. That's a great point.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's really good. That's where I wanted to get, because I totally agree with you. I'm just saying more like it's this narrow time frame, narrow look, narrow definition of what Bitcoin is and what it can bring that makes some people say it, right? But again, I think that's part of why it's just hard to understand, like it's hard to zoom out. It's hard to conceptualize. Right. I mean, and it's also, it's even harder to conceptualize with like history in mind as well, So I mean, it's just a hard subject to understand. And that's, I think, also why we're trying to, view it and attack it and talk about it from different angles, just to create like a lot of touch points for different types of people, that could trigger them to, go on their own journey and trying to understand this. But yeah. I mean, you see that if you just factually explain Bitcoin to a random person, they're like, okay, I don't really care. Yep. So, you cannot really change that. Well, to go to what I think we both think is going to be the world's biggest Bitcoin bank, MicroStrategy. So you set that up perfectly. Like what is your view on what Michael Saylor is doing with MicroStrategy? Like, how big is this idea, the thing that he's doing?
Okay, so I've already told you that I invested in MicroStrategy and sold all of it. But, I mean, full disclosure right off the bat, I'll say first off, before anything else, I am not a financial advisor. You already know my history. There's no finance in my background, okay? My degree is in marketing. And, so anything I say, just think of it as the village idiot. But when it comes to Bitcoin and MicroStrategy, I have done a lot of study there. And the Wall Street Journal just interviewed me here recently because, again, it's been not a year yet, almost a year, but I invested heavily in MicroStrategy. And I'll tell you the reason why. So after I'd sold all that stock and I thought, what the hell was I doing? I started studying it. And I started following Saylor more and also reading about MicroStrategy. And about a year ago, and it's not like he hadn't given hints, but I just had this sudden vision. I thought to myself, why is MicroStrategy and why is Saylor buying all this damn Bitcoin? What is the point? I don't see them. Is he going to sit on it? It's not going to be like an egg that he's trying to hatch. So why are they buying all this Bitcoin? And about a year ago, I was talking to Larry. Larry Lepard's a friend of mine. I said to him, I think that MicroStrategy is going to become the world's first Bitcoin bank. And so I thought, okay, it's a bank. Now, how are they going to do that? And then at some point I thought, okay, when they started continuing to buy, they bought 42 times. They just keep buying. I thought, they're not going to stop. He's taking us to the shore. He's going to burn the boats. I'm just going to get on board. And so this position that I took, it's like a little chick a fake chick that's been put in a nest, by somebody else. And it just gets bigger and bigger and pushes everything out of the nest. Well, that MicroStrategy position has grown and grown. And just like you said smartly, I don't rebalance. I don't, if I have a winner, I don't diversify. I just keep it. And besides, I believe that I have an idea where they're going. So do you remember that interview with Seyfedin Ammous 2 months ago.
Watch that one.
I've watched that 3 times, maybe 4 now. If you go to 1 hour and 34 minutes, 1 hour and 32 minutes, you will get